but it'll take a
Before
while
we start, I
to
want
set up.
to say thanks for having me on, by the way, just before we start.
No problem, Rob.
Anytime,
Thank you.
mate. Anytime. Right,
Bollocks
give me
to that. We
countdown.
don't want fanboys on again. God, not when they're your fanboys. No, we're ready. 3, 2, 1, go.
What's he fucking mumbling about
Oh,
now?
I don't know. What's going on?
What's he He's just bitching and moaning in the background about what's he saying?
He's just jealous because he was in there with Rob till you came in.
You're cracking me up, man. Right.
We're ready anyway.
Welcome,
whenever you want to go.
All right. Well, shut up then. Let me say something.
Shut up.
Welcome, pod lovers, to the latest instalment in our See You Next Thursday podcast. It's been an exciting week of Premiership action, culminating in the drama of the transfer firmly shutting for Premiership football clubs in England. In today's pod, we'll be discussing both. So to go through the story of the week with us, we have a very special guest joining us all the way from Australia. Rob, also known as Sky Saleh from the Liverpool site. Also, we have the usual suspects, Ed 007, Ed 025, and last and very least, we have Tristan, Ed 001. Hey everybody, how are you?
Hang on, 7's not
Hang
on.
on.
77's
What?
beeps. 77.
I just said 077, didn't I?
No, you said 7.
No,
007.
You lot are
You've been
bullying a
drinking, haven't
dyslexic.
you?
You're bullying a dyslexic.
No, you're just a
That is out of
moron.
order.
It's not dyslexia when you're just stupid.
You
can
did
get
say
arrested.
007.
Thank you. You can get arrested for that shit. Do you know that? Because I've got rights in this day and age.
No, you haven't. You're in America. You don't have rights.
All right. How are you guys?
Fine, thank you.
Good man. Deeps?
I'm fine. Hello.
Tristan?
I was alright till I just spent the last 2 hours listening to Deep's chat up Rob, and now I'm feeling it, mate. I'm tired
It
now.
must have been love. All right. A very hearty welcome to Rob, Sky Saleh, and thanks for taking the time out to participate today, mate. I got a present for you, Rob. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
No, seriously, you ready?
You're scaring me now. Yep.
Let me know if you're ready or not.
Yeah, I'm ready.
You know we belong together. You and I forever.
Oh my
No
god.
matter where you are, you're my God.
You know,
Star.
shouldn't you have picked the other one? Isn't the other one in Melbourne?
Every first moment I saw you.
Oh my god.
Shut up, Tristan. For
Oh, it's
fuck's
just
sake.
trying to cover up
I
your
never
singing
felt
because it's
such
awful.
emotion. I'm walking on it. Just to know, you are there. Hold me in your arms, don't let me go. I want to stay forever, home and away.
Oh my god.
With you each day. How'd you like them apples, Rob?
That was brilliant.
Please God.
That was some bloody
Right.
present there.
Oh God.
Thanks
Rob.
for that.
No worries, mate. Let's crack on. Rob, let's have a little bit of your background, mate. Let's get to know you a little bit more. So what part of Australia are you in, mate?
I'm in Melbourne, in Victoria.
Oh, nice one, mate. Nice one. So what's your story? What's your background?
Background for football or life in general?
General, mate. Football, everything. Give us it all. Warts and all.
I'm 28. I'm a massive Liverpool fan. Hard to watch a lot of the games because of the time difference. I watch every game live for Liverpool. It destroys my sleeping pattern every week.
What time's the games on?
It all depends on the kickoffs, but sometimes you've got 11 p.m. games, 3 o'clock in the morning games, 5 a.m.
Yeah.
So it kind of fluctuates. But every week, me and my mates always get together and watch all the games, and we love it.
You've even got friends. Jesus, what are you doing on here?
Mate, I watched Joe Cole's. I'm sure you must have been about 4 when this happened, but I watched Joe Cole's debut for Liverpool in Melbourne, in your neck of the woods, in a casino. And he got sent off, I remember.
He got sent off, that's right.
Yeah.
It's Arsenal, I think.
That's it, mate. Arsenal started you mean to go on. I remember that. I watched it in a casino in Melbourne.
Probably the best thing you did for us, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Who's your favourite Liverpool player, mate, of all time?
Oh, that's a tough one. I'm from a more obviously recent era, but
yeah,
I love Alisson Becker. I just think he's unbelievable. Him and Xavi Alonso for me were two of the best players. One we've currently have, and the other one that in my opinion, we've ever had. But I haven't obviously been around as long as you guys. But
oh my God, we're not having him on again. Oh, that's his last time on.
Deeps, you want to say, Deeps, how old are you?
23.
Oh, you're younger than Rob.
Seems so.
Oh my God, I didn't even know you were that young. Jeez, you're a baby still. Oh well. What's your favourite Liverpool manager, Rob?
It's got to be Klopp for me because the managers
you remember.
Yeah, the managers I grew up watching, like
Roy Hodgson, I'm sure.
And Roy Hodgson.
Yeah,
I wasn't really a big fan of, so I love Klopp, and yeah, he's definitely my favourite.
Who was in charge when you first watched Liverpool then?
The one I remember would have been the late 90s, probably Houllier, I think it was. I remember as a kid watching a bit with my dad, and I remember Houllier was in charge.
So you got some success then when you started watching Liverpool. You had we won silverware.
Yeah, I was a bit young, so I would have been probably 5 or 6 when that happened. But I remember my earliest memory for Liverpool manager was Houllier.
Fair play, mate. All right, guys. Well, that's the interview done. We henceforth and conquer. Actually, there was, before we start, there was some feedback on the site from last week's podcast. Apparently the feedback was that Ed001 isn't given the platform to speak much, so we are going to remedy that this week. So you ready, Tristan?
Oh yeah.
Getting your mum to fight your battles and everything.
Like me mum would ever have anything nice to say about me.
Dear Liverpool site, I was listening to the podcast last week, and you didn't let my Tristan talk much.
You know full well, you've met me, mum. You know full well, she'd be the one saying, "Can you get that twat off there?"
All right. Deeps, you're going to do some talking this week as well, mate, because that's the feedback we had. You weren't talking much last week either.
Mum doesn't listen to this stuff.
No, actually,
Sorry,
it was from the one before. They said he was a bit quiet.
All right.
Mum doesn't listen to these things. Who was it? Come on.
How's your mum as well writing in?
No. See.
All right, guys, let's podcast. So let's go through the Premiership games from match day 3, starting with let's start with the first game: Man City 5, Arsenal 0. Who's going to take that away? Deeps, you go.
Actually, noise?
I have no idea. It wasn't me for a change.
Okay, no.
Deeps, you want to go? You want to take that away, mate? You want to start with Man City 5, Arsenal 0?
Man City are a decent team. Arsenal are shambles. So that is what happens when a top 4 team, a title challenger, faces a team struggling to keep themselves in the top half. So.
Especially when they got an idiot like Xhaka getting sent off.
Oh, and the manager is a wannabe Pep, but no good.
You're trying to think of a nice way to say Arteta's completely inept, aren't you?
We say the same thing again and again every week. Arteta isn't good enough.
Yeah.
But Deeps, we were saying that about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer last season again and again, time after time after time, and he turned it around in shorts.
Did he though?
Has he really? Yeah, has he really?
But he kept his job. That was his objective. He kept his job and brought them second in the league. So probably he did. Yeah.
Well, Arteta
I'm
isn't
sorry.
out of the job yet.
I'm sorry, Deep. Say that again.
Arteta has still managed to keep his job till now.
Yeah.
The difference is Arteta doesn't have the quality of individual talented players that can pull him out of this shit every time his tactics are terrible, like against Wolves.
I think Arsenal just don't have a Bruno Fernandes who can just galvanize his team.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. They've not got that talent, have they?
Yeah.
They've just spent $150 million pounds.
On
so
crap, yeah.
is that?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was thinking the same thing.
Later.
Rob, what was that, mate? Go. Sorry, but
No, I was thinking the same thing. Comparing the Arsenal and the United team, both managers, they're a bit, inept, but United's got the much better squad that can bail them out compared to Arsenal. Who I just don't think the team's good enough.
Yeah, totally agree, mate. Totally agree. What is Arsenal lacking? I mean, is that a dumb question? I mean, from the top, obviously, from Billy, what do you think they're lacking? Obviously, the manager.
Lacking a manager.
The manager and the players,
And the players are lacking not only discipline, but they're lacking leadership, and that's the problem for me with Arsenal.
Yeah.
And the players don't have any faith. I was just going to say the players don't have any faith in Arteta. That's why they're leaving in droves. Saliba is an Arsenal fan. He was desperate to join them. And what does Arteta do when he gets him? Even though he hadn't been playing for months, so he needed to get fitness and that, he took one look at him in a training game and decided he wasn't going to be any good, and wouldn't even look at him afterwards. Just sent him out on loan. And you've got one of the best young talents in world football there, and Arteta's decided after one look at him in a training game after he's not even half fit, and he's decided he doesn't want him. I mean, how is that good management? It just shows what kind of stupidity you're dealing with.
I think Edu's helping either as you situation. He's a waste of time for Arsenal. And they've got to get rid of them two for me if they've got to progress.
Which two?
Guys, is there
Arteta and Edu.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Billy, sorry. Yeah. Guys, is there any way that Arteta can turn this situation around to a positive one?
Quit.
I'm sorry?
He could quit. That'd be positive.
I mean, that's probably a logical answer, Tristan. But I'm saying, Arteta in the job, can he turn it round? With the players he just bought, will they give him till January to turn this around with the investment they've made for him? That's what I'm asking, basically. Will he keep his job till January, regardless of results?
I can't see it, because they're going to be struggling at the bottom of the table while they're under Arteta, aren't they?
Well, he won't keep his job regardless of the result. If he starts getting a few wins here and there, then maybe they might afford him 6 months. But next two games are very crucial. They're against Norwich and Burnley, fellow relegation rivals. So.
Okay, who saw the game? Who saw the game?
Yeah,
I
saw most of it.
What did you think, Rob? What was it? Was it Arsenal just inept or Man City just unplayable?
It looked like boys against men to me.
Yeah.
Didn't look like City even got out of the second or third gear at most times.
Oh right.
I think Arsenal are really dire at the moment. Like it's sad to see, because I know they're such a big club, and I think it could have been a lot worse. And yeah, just to me it looked like City, they were good, but you could tell, like I said, they didn't really get out of the second or third gear. I think there was a lot more there if they wanted it. Obviously, the red card with Xhaka didn't help. I think that was just a stupid challenge that, obviously made his team worse off, especially at the timing that it came. But yeah, that could have been really bad for them. It was already bad, but it could have been a lot worse.
Now, did Man City lack a number 9, or was it just Arsenal were just terrible? I mean, they were just bad, and they didn't need that. Do what Man City need a number 9, or was just that game not reflective of that
it's
question?
Not reflective, mate. You couldn't judge. They didn't have to try. They could have put out a team of kids against Arsenal. It was so easy.
Bad, yeah.
Arsenal terrible. I mean, they played themselves into trouble constantly with their passing around at the back. They've not got a defence worthy of the name. Now, like I said, their best defender they sent out on loan, and they brought in 2 more instead. I mean, what?
There's nothing. What happened to White? Was he injured?
He's got COVID.
Yeah, I was going to say he's out with COVID.
Oh, okay, that's right, Deep. Yeah.
Yeah, they had
so
they were just awful, and it's Arteta hasn't got a tactical brain in his head. Let's be honest. He hasn't got a clue how to coach the players to play the way he wants them to play.
I've got a question for you, Tristan, right? And all of you guys, Billy, Deeps, Rob, right? Okay, Arteta was a coach, the second in command at Man City. He was under Pep, who loves to play from the back, right? How comes Arteta cannot implement that? He's trying and trying and trying. How comes he cannot get it right for Arsenal to play out the back? Because it's absolute comical. It's comedy. It's actually comedy gold when you see them play out the back. Why can't he get that right? I just don't understand. I don't get it.
Because he isn't a good leader. He's not a good man manager. He's not intelligent enough. He's not a good coach. And he's not got the intelligence to understand what he was watching and to then implement it with his players. And he hasn't got... The other thing is his communication skills aren't good enough to communicate to the players what he wants them to do and have them understand it. He tends to tell them too much. So he's given them loads of information to do one simple thing. You know what I mean? It's like you don't need to give them every single bit of information all the time. You just need to give them enough so they understand what they're doing. They shouldn't have to be thinking about it all the time, as he's given them hundreds of things to think about constantly.
So why did he get kept on at Man City under Pep? Because Pep doesn't take people tread water.
Yeah, but under Pep, he's not in charge, so he's not doing what he wants to do. He's doing what Pep tells him to do. Now he's doing what he wants to do, and the thing the players are moaning about is being overcoached, is what they're talking about. And what they mean by that is they're getting so many instructions they can't understand. They can't get their heads around it enough. It's just too much. You can't. They're not bright people. Most footballers. You've got to keep it simple. And
it's over instruction.
Yeah, you don't need all these instructions to play out for to play one position anyway. It should be simple.
It's also not very often that a good number 2 makes a good number 1 in the history of football.
Good point, mate.
Howard Kendall had Colin Harvey as his number 2, and everyone was saying, "Oh, he'll do a great job." And Colin was awful, to be honest with you, as a number 1. Fantastic number 2. But when you step up to the plate as a number 1, you've got to have respect. And I think the players lack respect for Arteta. That's my personal opinion.
Very true, they do. Definitely, that's 100%.
Deeps, highlighting what Billy just said, how did Carlos Queiroz do as a number 1 at United? I can't quite remember.
He was never the number 1. Sir Alex
he wasn't Carlos Queiroz a number 1 at one point?
Not at United, no.
Yeah.
What happened is I was gonna bring him up anyways. Like Queiroz was so revered by everybody, by players, by other coaches, staff, and everybody. Like he's so good and everything. And then when he went into management, he never could actually get a top team to perform well for him. The same happened with René Mugler's team as well. Like if
did he not say? Sorry, man. Sorry.
If you hear René Mugler's team talk, he's so eloquent and he's so knowledgeable and everything. But he also struggled when he took over teams as head coach himself. So it's a completely different job when you're part of someone's coaching staff, your first team coach, and when you're the manager, the head coach of the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
I can only
good
think
point,
of
Billy.
one.
Thank you.
I can only think of one. Can you think of any more other than Bob Paisley?
Who's been a good number one?
Yeah,
After being a number
that
two.
went on to become a great, great number two. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, I'm not talking about like crap ones can go on to be good ones. I'm talking about a great number two who went on to be a great number one. I think he's the only one I can think of.
Oh, and Steve McLaren.
Can we add Zidane in there as well? Like Zidane was number two for Ancelotti.
Would you say he was great, or was he just lucky?
Well, his record is great.
Yeah, but was he great? That's just the thing. I mean, it's one of those. I don't know with him. His football was awful. What he did was he just copied Rafa's. He just used the same tactics Rafa used. Except Rafa got booed off the pitch. His team got booed off the pitch for doing it.
Yeah.
I mean,
talking about Rafa. Sorry, mate.
I was just saying, I just don't know with him. He's one of those where, is he any good, or was he just lucky to have a great team at the time?
Yeah, I think so, Chris.
Yeah. Well, they weren't even. I mean, it's not even a great team. It's just they had players who could win the big games for them when it mattered, really, weren't it? Rather than they had a great team.
Yeah. He inherited a great squad, didn't he? He really did.
Yeah.
Talking about Rafa, his ex-team beat Southampton 2-0. Anybody watch that game?
Brighton, actually. They beat Brighton, actually.
Excuse me, Rob. Are you sure? Newcastle were 2-2 against Southampton, no?
Oh, sorry, I thought you, when you were saying going on to Rafa, I thought you meant Everton.
Oh, no, mate, you're next. Don't worry about
it. I'm confused here.
I said Rafa's old team, Bill.
Oh, sorry. No,
That's all right, Bill. No worries. Bad. I tell you what, Bill, did you watch that game, mate?
Yeah, I did, actually.
You go take it away, mate. You go for it, pal.
It was quite a good game, actually. Ended up 2-2. And the end of it was more exciting than the rest of it, of course, but they both played some decent stuff. It wasn't great, don't win. It's not like it was the Liverpool-Chelsea game. It was real, but it was decent stuff. Both of them tried to win it. Both played some decent stuff. I thought it was a very good game, actually.
Cheers, Bill. Rob, are these the kind of games you give a miss because they're on at stupid o'clock in the morning? Like Newcastle, Southampton, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of them are on at the same time. So we put a program on. It's called Goal Rush, and they usually will show the one game, and then on the side, whenever a team scores that's playing at the same time, they'll just show the goals.
Yeah, that's what we get here. That's what we get here as well.
So so it is quite difficult sometimes to watch those games because it's on so late, and you do have I work on a Sunday, so it can get a bit difficult to destroy my sleep to watch Newcastle or such, but I'll try and catch as much as I can. I'll watch, the games that I do miss. I watch the highlights throughout the week and stuff. I try and see what I can get from that, but can get hard.
Deeps, I was going to ask you and Rob actually. What's the I know what the situation in where Tristan is, and obviously Billy, you get Sky Sports and that. What's the football coverage like in Nepal, Deeps, and Australia, Rob?
Well, it's quite good here. It's quite good here for the Premier League.
That's what I meant. The Premier League. Sorry, Deeps. Yeah, thanks for.
Yeah, for the Premier League we have how many? I think we have two channels that show the games. So we get most of the high-profile games every week, and the timing is like I was saying to Rob before. Timing is quite perfect for us because it's somewhere from 5 in the evening to 12:30, somewhere around there. So it's perfect for us.
Perfect. Yeah. Very. Yeah. Yeah, that's great. And then you get every, say you want to watch, obviously you want to watch all the United games. You get all the United games live, or is there some that you can't, you have to just...
We get most of the United games live because it's a high profile game, and
Gotcha.
that's about it.
And Rob, what about you? Do you get most of the Liverpool games live, or do you have to be have to watch highlights?
Yeah.
Or
No. With us down here, we get a thing called, I don't know if you know the company Optus. It's like a telecommunications and internet provider. So they provide us. Okay, so you know how there's like 3, like Chelsea sponsor 3 in England.
Yeah.
Over here we've got Optus, and that
Gotcha.
they send the box, like you've got to pay for it obviously, but they send the box out to your house, and it acts as its own like cable TV in a way. It's got its own channels and stuff, and that has all the games live and all the punditry. So we do get to watch all that stuff.
It's ironic that apart from England, most countries have really good coverage of the Premier League, and the English league is not so well broadcasted in England. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's harder for
3 o'clock kickoffs on a Saturday are banned from being shown, so they won't affect the gate at lower league teams.
Oh well.
Fair enough,
Not on my telly, no. I've got a dodgy box.
About 15 people just found that out. Hey, what about Hassan? He's not. I mean, these are both managers that are doing. I mean, Bruce and Hassantel, they're just like. I mean, Hassantel hasn't improved from last season, really. And then Bruce is not, obviously, he's not pulling up any trees. So they're just doing enough to kind of keep their job, these 2 managers.
Yeah, that's true.
But there is another similarity with Southampton and Newcastle. Both the owners are open to selling the club, and hence they don't invest as much as other teams do to improve the squad.
Yeah, I hear you, pal. Good point. Yeah, I mean, I think that the Newcastle takeover is pending, isn't it? I mean, it's on. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens within the next 6 months, 3 to 6 months.
Isn't the next hearing scheduled for like 7 months down the line or something like that?
Sorry, buddy, say that again.
Yeah, like they've still not finalized whether they're gonna let the deal go through or not, right? So I think it was supposed to be somewhere around like September, but now they've moved it to some like February, I think, in 2022.
Gotcha. No, I'm not keeping up with that, mate, to be honest with you.
I think they're just waiting for the situation to cool down to let that move go through. I think, because why else would you just move it ahead? And guys,
thanks, Deep. Thanks for that. Right, let's move on to Brighton 0, Everton 2. And I know, Billy, you're chomping at the bit here.
Before you do that, can I just say something? It was moved because the pandemic, they've got a backlog of court cases because nobody was actually being able to sit in court. So certain court cases were, certain court cases got cut, it's slow, it slowed up the run.
Yeah.
They were doing them online for a while to try and catch up, but now they've gone back into doing them in the courts again. There's a massive backlog they're trying to catch up on, so it's happening a lot. There's a lot getting pushed back, so you might be right. It might be just they're trying to give it a bit of time, but it's more likely it's probably because of just the backlog.
So when's the date for your stalking one, Tristan, at the High Court?
Do you mean you're stalking one of me?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Billy, you take it away, mate. Brighton 0, Everton 2.
How's it going performance.
There? Yeah.
Really good performance from the Blues. I was expecting a draw myself, hoping for a draw. Because Brighton
I wonder why Everton are winning all of a sudden.
It's because they've got a new manager. That's why they're winning.
Finally got a decent one.
But they've got off to a really good start. And we were by far the better side against Brighton. Brighton have been playing well. The first couple of games, they played really well and had a 100% record. But Everton schooled them, to be honest with you. They never really threatened much, but we played well, and Damari Gray scored another goal. He looks a real bargain at 1.7 million, and an obvious penalty that Calvert-Lewin put away. But there was another couple of chances. We could have been 3 or 4, to be honest. I thought it was a really good performance.
Billy, there was some drama before the penalty.
Deeps, you go first, and then Rob, you go after Deeps, mate.
Yep.
No, we were saying the same thing. There was some drama before the penalty, though.
What's that?
Oh, Richarlison was doing a bit of a
good point. Yeah. Good point.
Oh, right, when he tried to take the ball. Yeah, that was a bit of a discipline on his part there. And Rafa soon put that to bed. And DCL is now the penalty taker, and he's the second penalty taker if Everton get to. All sorted, no big drama.
1 minute. So if Everton get 2 penalties in a game, DCL takes the first one, Richarlison takes the second one.
And that's right. That's the policy of the club.
That's fair enough. I don't kind of agree with that. I think there should be a designated penalty taker, and if he's having a bad time of it, then somebody else should take penalties.
I think he's trying to appease everyone at the club and keep players happy, and I think must be the thinking behind it. But he's actually come out and said that is the protocol for the penalty taking at Everton.
So now you've won the Premiership, Billy, this season after 3 games.
Yeah.
It's the Champions League and the World Cup next.
We're just under the radar. We're under the radar. That suits.
You're nestled nicely after 3 games, right? You're bubbling away nicely after 3 games. Now, I asked you this.
We're only just about above Liverpool, so we've still got work to do.
Don't worry, we have Agent Rapper in your ranks, mate. Don't you worry. All right, I asked you this last week, but now you've got it's another game. Tell me what's delighting you about Everton, pleasuring you about Everton
this season.
You got more of a sample size. I'm saying you got 3 games in now.
Yeah, you see, the players are playing for the shirt at the moment. They are. I don't know whether it's to try and impress Rafa, but they're really giving their all. And the signings we've made, everyone was saying that. Even you, Abid, was saying about Andros Townsend.
That's how you spell it as well, isn't it? I'm not kidding.
I know, yeah. But he's come on and he's played well. He's contributed and he works tirelessly. And that's all Evertonians want, is players to give their all. Forget all these superstars, these prima donnas. We'd all seen around people who work, who graft, who give their all for the club and the shirt. And we don't ask for much more. And we know that we've got financial problems, and we're going to have to just live with it. But at the moment, they're doing a sterling job, and I'm really, all their supporters are really happy with the way things are going at the moment.
Smile on your faces this season, eh?
Absolutely.
Yeah, mate. I always listen. I don't want to say I'm not right about much in life. You can ask anyone around me, but Rafa was just. I just thought Rafa was just the right fit for you guys. And I know it took a lot of acceptance, etc. He wasn't very palatable, but he's not going to win you the league. He's not going to win you the Champions League. But I tell you what, he'll take you to that next level where somebody else, when you get the stadium built and everything, somebody else can come in and take you to that the next echelon. Do you get what I'm saying, Bill?
Yeah, and I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, cool. Rob, I think you wanted to say something, mate.
Yeah, I was just bringing up the Richarlison thing. I accidentally said it at the same time as Deeps.
No worries, mate. Don't apologise. Nobody else does. Go for it, man.
Yeah, next time just speak louder than him, so we can just drown him out.
What we do.
Yeah.
And yeah, Damari Gray scored a nice goal. I saw that. Nice little solo run. Yeah, it was very good. He's been impressive so far.
He's on
Yeah.
All right, guy. What's that, Deeps, mate? What?
Damari Gray is on fire, scoring goals left, right, and center.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are wrong about him. He was ex-Leicester, right?
Yeah.
Birmingham City originally.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right, guys. Let's move on to West Ham 2, Crystal Palace 2. Who watched this game?
I did.
Tristan, you don't talk. Yeah, you go for it, pal. Your mum's going to have a go at me then, otherwise.
Because I was surprised Palace got a result here because West Ham were a better side for large portions of it. But
after
somehow
you slagged off Patrick Vieira for about 2 hours last week, and now
awful.
you just got a 2-2 draw.
Palace are terrible, and you're just thinking, I don't know how they managed to somehow. They just, every time West Ham scored, they'd just pop up and equalise. It's like you watch it thinking, it's unreal.
Was this the Gallagher fella that scored? Was it? That's the game, right?
That's the one.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
I'm not
Chelsea
sure. I do not understand the big deal about him. Don't get me wrong, his work rate is fantastic, but he just runs around everywhere mindlessly. And you can see he's got ability, but 99% of it is just being run into the ground for no reason. You know, somebody needs to get hold of that lad and explain to him, Rafa would be the perfect man to do it. Sometimes you need to run less and do more, achieve more than just... He's one of those really frustrating players that you can see there's talent there, but he's just running around for the sake of it, So I'm trying to think.
It needs to be channeled.
Yes, he really needs someone who sits down and says, right, instead of just running there, here, there, and everywhere, you need to hang on to the right moment to make those runs. Like happened with Gerrard under Rafa. He sat him down and he, said to him, you're running too much. You're not actually... So when you're getting into a position, you're tired out, and you're not able to achieve what you want to do, or you're snatching at shots, or you're throwing yourself into a challenge you don't need to make because you should have been in position rather than having to chase it and stuff like that. And that's what he needs, because the talent is clearly there. I mean, he's got a great touch in that, and he's fantastic work rate. He never stops running, but it's the wrong areas 99% of the time.
He's got real composure in.
Yeah,
sorry, mate.
Yeah, I was just going to say he's
very composed in the box.
Yeah,
he's got instinct. There's no doubt he's got composure and instinct. He just needs to do it in the right places.
Yeah, he needs to learn to save his legs for and to run at the right times. Time his runs is just as important as where you run as well. Because he's just a lot of the time he just ends up stood still in the box when he waiting for the ball to come in rather than getting on the end of a header. You know what I mean? By running onto it and smashing it in.
Yeah, I hear you, Billy. I want to ask you this question, mate. I'm actually, honestly, all joking aside, I know that David Moyes as the Messiah have been a figure of ridicule for many football fans the last few years, but the guy, put some respect on the guy's name. There's a renaissance going on down there. I mean, they're a serious outfit, West Ham, and that's down to Moyes, right?
He's done well against all my wishes and hopes. He's done really well there, and
how? Why? What's going on?
Because he fits a club like West Ham. He fits a club like Everton. He's never going to get you where you want to go, but you'll do well. His teams will always do well because he gets them working hard, and but he's not what I'd call a top flight manager.
Right. He's not a top tier manager. He's not the highest echelons like the Peps, the Klopps, that kind of stature.
No, he's not. No, he's not. No.
Players don't respect him enough. That's the the big players.
But he's doing something down there. Obviously, because they haven't got any world-class players. Is that what you're saying, yeah?
I'm not saying they haven't got world-class. It's that the egos, the big egos at West Ham, that just aren't there. So they'll listen.
No.
Yeah.
That helps a lot.
He can organise the side very well. He organises the side, and his teams are always hard to beat. They're not always easy on the eye, although I've been surprised with West Ham. But he's always a team of grafters. He gets them working, he gets them doing the right things. And I'm sure West Ham are very happy with him.
He's brought in somebody. He's brought in somebody to help him tactically as well.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I can't remember who that is.
No, me.
I know they've had a very successful transfer window, which we'll talk about, touch upon later on. But it just, I mean, look what he's done with Antonio. He's like a man possessed.
Yeah.
He's one of those strange players, though, isn't he? You watch him; his touch is terrible, but it just seems to bumble on through. You know, no matter how many people challenge him, it just seems to go his way all the time. It's unreal.
He scored a goal the other day with his left foot, and that's not even his natural foot. And he just, Jesus, it was like a rocket inside the box. It's ridiculous. I mean, is he that good, or is he just having a purple patch?
That's a tough question.
He's a good player. I think he's a good player, you know.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, but
I don't know if he's as good as he's playing. I think he might be playing out of his skin at the moment. He is. He's
at his level.
Maybe a bit above. I think.
Deeps, Rob, what do you think?
I like him personally.
Yeah, would you have him at
very
Liverpool?
Strong as well. I don't know about having him at Liverpool, but I like watching him. I think he just overtook the record goal scorer at West Ham as well.
Yeah. Premier League.
No, he's done very well.
Not record goal scorer, just Premier League. Because obviously football was only invented in the Premier League era, according to Sky.
I like watching him.
He's a weapon. He's a weapon, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Deeps, what's your idea on him? You got any ideas on him?
He's a decent player who would be really good if he didn't get injured every.
Yeah.
That's the issue. He just gets injured so often.
Would you have him at United, Deeps?
No, we've got Ronaldo.
Sorry, mate?
No, we've got Ronaldo.
No, but
who?
If you hadn't got the chosen one, would you have had him at United? Is he United level, or is he found his level at West Ham United?
It's a tier below, somewhere like Leicester.
I think Billy, you're right. I think he'd be a brilliant signing for Everton.
Yeah, I'd take him all day.
Yeah. All right, guys. All right, the Patrick Vieira. Well, we discussed him at nauseum last week, so we'll just see how he goes over the next few weeks. Guys, next up is Norwich versus Leicester City. Norwich lost. Leicester beat Norwich 2-1 away. Rodgers is just there or thereabouts again, and he's just bubbling away nicely, I think.
Did anybody see the game first?
I didn't watch that one.
I never watched it, to be honest with you.
I had a feeling nobody had seen this.
Play.
Do you?
I was decorating.
Deeps, did you watch it, mate?
No, I didn't.
I've got to say, I'm not a big fan of watching Leicester play. I don't really like the way Rodgers sends teams out. Too much passing for the sake of it. And against Norwich, 2-1. I mean, it's a close result, that. You know what I mean? They should be smashing teams like that aside, really. It should be a stroll in the park for a team like Leicester, and it wasn't. That's where they struggle.
What's that, Rob?
I think they had the goal disallowed as well.
Who? Leicester?
Norwich.
Nah, Norwich.
Norwich. Did Daka play that game? Because I'm seriously interested in seeing what he's going to do.
He came off the bench, didn't he? I was on, but I didn't actually. I didn't remember.
Gotcha.
Daka has been making sub appearances.
Sub appearances, yeah, because Vardy's playing well, isn't he?
Yeah, Vardy. Vardy looks really back to his best, which surprised me. I
Seriously?
thought this season his legs might be going. I thought, I really thought this has got to be the season, isn't it? But no, he seems to be playing really well.
It's just 3 games.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He tired last season towards the end, but this season they've got, there's a lot more gaps in between the games than last season, and they've got Daka and Iheanacho to bring in to give him a rest. And he's not playing international football either, so he might get another season or 2 yet from him.
How old is he? 33?
34,
35, I think.
Hang on. I'll tell you.
He's 34.
34.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
35 in January.
Yeah.
Jeez. So will Billy. All right, guys, let's move on from there. Yeah. Did anybody watch Villa v Brentford 1-1?
No, decorating.
So, next week, what we should do, we should...
He's all on at the same time.
Yeah.
Do you know what we should do next week? We should all watch some football and then do a podcast on it. I think that would be a great idea.
I think you're right, David.
That sounds terrible.
Honestly,
Nobody had listened to that shite.
Talk about Formula 1, I think.
Did you watch it this weekend? We wouldn't be talking much about racing, would we? 2 laps behind the pace car, 3 hours of fucking Formula 1 was just for 2 laps behind the pace car, so they could say the race had been done. I don't know.
I should have refunded people. That is a disgrace.
Why are we talking? Well,
I only recently got into that.
Yeah.
We're talking about racing because nobody watched Villa versus Brentford. That's why. Or Leicester versus Norwich.
But Abid, I told you, Abid, if the games aren't high profile, they won't be shown over here.
Yeah, you're right, mate. I listen. I forgive you, Deeps. Don't do it again. Next week, I need you guys to be well researched.
Right, research.
Yeah. Get your pen and piece of paper out, Billy.
I will do.
You've got to take notes, mate. Take notes like Rob did.
Do what Rob does. See, Rob's a consummate professional, and he works and everything. He still does research.
Yeah, you're retired, Bill. The only thing you've got to do all week is sluice out the bins with the jet wash.
Shovel the coal. Yeah, and shovel the coal.
But I went to golf on Saturday, so that's why I missed most of the game.
Fair enough, mate. Listen, you got to give him enjoy his retirement, Tristan.
Yeah, that's why I was like, why are you going to golf?
The same watching Leicester against Norwich.
He could have been watching Brentford Villa. What's wrong with the man?
Listen, mate, he deserves a game of golf. He's fought in 2 world wars.
Hey, only one.
Yeah, the first one, he was too old by the second one.
The eyesight was going in 90. What's that, mate?
What have you guys made of Brentford since they've come up?
I watched the first game. Yeah, they're not doing themselves a disservice, that's for sure, mate. What about you, Rob? What did you think?
I caught snippets of that game because I think it was on just before Liverpool started. I did fall asleep, but I was impressed by Rico Henry.
Fair enough, mate.
I like him a lot.
Yeah, I like him too.
Who did he play for before?
Also,
who's that, mate? Was that Deeps?
I don't know how to pronounce it. Walsall.
Walsall. Yeah. Walsall. That's it, mate. Yeah. Well, do you know what? The people that ones in Nepal and ones in Australia, they watch more football than us. It's incredible. That's embarrassing.
I've liked the look of them a bit so far since they've come up.
Yeah.
I think they're good enough to stay up as well this season.
It's good to see Canos make it as well.
Yeah, him too.
He had a bad injury problems and that. It's great to see him back playing well.
Yeah.
Do you think that Villa have? I know it's only 3 games in, but do you think Villa have been they regret selling Grealish, or would they have preferred getting the 3 players they bought for the Grealish money?
You have to remember they've been hit badly with injuries, and haven't they had a COVID thing as well? Haven't they had a bit of a?
They have. You remember that?
They've been struggling for players, so it's not really a fair judgment on them. You know, you can't really.
So that question's redundant until a few more games, probably. Then.
Yeah, I need to give them time to see how they get on.
Yeah, cool. All right, guys. Liverpool 1, Chelsea 1. Take it away, Rob. You've got a lot to talk about, my friend. There's a lot happening in this game.
My first ever review for a match. This is going to be interesting.
It's got to be better than the ones I do. Don't worry.
Mate, it's going to be better than the Brentford Villa one and the Norwich Leicester one. That's for sure. You can't go wrong, mate.
Initially, I was pretty happy with the lineup. I thought Tsimikas was a bit stiff not to have started because I think he's had a good start to the season.
And probably the same. That means unfortunate in English for everybody who's listening.
I think we started with some good intensity towards the start of the game. I was pretty happy with how we started, and I could see there was a bit unsettling for Chelsea.
Yeah.
Elliott had a nice little shot early on, which wasn't far off. Henderson as well. There was a really nice ball played over the top by Trent that Henderson got on the end of, and he scuffed it to the right-hand side with his left foot.
I remember that.
Another thing I noticed was, I know Bobby does drop deep, but he was dropping real deep in this game. So I was just obviously happy to see him back out there playing because I love him. The Chelsea corner that they got, I didn't initially see it until they showed the replay. It scuffed off the bottom of Trent's boot for the corner that they scored off. I felt like they just started to settle around the time that they scored. Bit disappointing that the run of Havertz wasn't picked up by, I think it was Robertson from the post. And
yes,
the goal was an amazing header. Like the flick on from that position to Luke Allison was that was really impressive. I thought that was a really nicely taken goal from Chelsea.
Do you think he meant it though? Do you think he meant that, or do you think he was just flicking it on?
It's hard to call. It looked. I'm not too sure about Havertz's aerial ability itself.
Yeah.
But you got to give him hats off for, to be the keeper, especially of Allison's caliber, with a header like that was crazy. So.
Yeah, I agree, mate. Yeah.
I felt like once they scored that goal, it kind of rocked us a bit as well. We looked a bit rocked after that.
I agree. Yeah.
Matip gave away a cheap pass not long after that ended with a bit of a chance for Chelsea. I think Lukaku lost his footing. So you could see that tussle going on between. You were saying that in the build-up, I think it was on last week's pod, that who was going to mark Lukaku, and everyone, that whole battle of the week was, is Van Dijk going to be, back to it enough to be able to mark Lukaku? But it was Matip, if I'm correct. He was doing most of the marking. Is that right, Tris?
Well, it's more Lukaku pulled on Matip rather than Van Dijk. We did say that he would do. Yeah, we did say that, if you're going to play against Van Dijk and Matip, you're not going to play on Van Dijk when Matip's there, are you? And that's what's always been the thing with Liverpool. We've had, since Van Dijk arrived, whoever's played alongside him has been stuck with whoever's the attacker.
And Lukaku did similar with Lovren as well when he was at United.
Yeah, so right.
I felt like Chelsea was starting to look a lot more comfortable, especially out of possession. Kante was running amok in the midfield. He's absolutely incredible player. I love him. I love him. He's probably my favourite player outside of Liverpool in world football. I absolutely love Kante. I reckon he's amazing.
Agreed, totally.
I didn't initially realise Bobby was injured when he came off. For a second, I thought it was like a tactical substitution. So I was like, "Oh,
don't say anything, Billy." Sorry, Rob.
Sorry.
I'm keeping the powder dry.
I know. Billy's going to pipe in a second. Don't worry about that, Rob. But go on, mate.
No, initially, I initially didn't realise he was injured. I thought Klopp was making a tactical sub, and I'm like, it's only like the 40th minute or so. So
43 minutes it was when he came
yeah,
up.
that's right. And then we get to the main talking point of the game, the red card. Penalty. I was talking to Tris earlier. I felt like it was a little bit harsh, but it is in the rules of the game, so it is understandable. I got too caught up in the craze of us trying to knock the ball in that I initially didn't see the handball because it all happened so fast, and you're on the edge of your seat trying to see if the ball's going to go in. So I didn't initially see the red card. Once they the VAR went through and they were calling for it and they showed the replay, I was like, yeah, that's definitely, you could tell it was definitely going to be given a penalty. So I'll admit though, this is just my opinion. I thought it was I was a bit shocked to see the red card come out, but like I said, it is the rules because he's technically stopping the ball with his hand. The Mr. Reliable from the penalty spot, Salah, I think that's, correct me if I'm wrong, 17 in a row.
Wow, I didn't know that. Really?
I think
wow.
He's done research. What's going on here?
Pretty sure that's what I heard. I'm pretty sure it was 17 in a row.
Are you sure you're on the right podcast?
Mate, you are really making us look bad.
I know, this is embarrassing. We can't have him on again.
And you could see that Chelsea just completely lost their heads after that. Rudiger was booked for kicking up I think it was the penalty spot. Mendy was booked for booting the ball away and getting in a bit of a, argument with Henderson and the lads. But in saying that, the red card probably couldn't have come at a better time for Chelsea because it was on the stroke of half time. And I thought, honestly, come second half, we were going to run through them. I was pretty confident. But this isn't Lampard's Chelsea anymore. This is Tuchel's. So he's done a really good job. I mean, the same thing happened last year when Christensen got the red card against us, and we ended up, playing really well and putting it over him. But like I said, this isn't Lampard's Chelsea, so he must have, he would have worked wonders to calm him down at half time, gathered him, made the sensible subs. Obviously, Kante had to come off injured, but I still had high hopes of us putting Chelsea away. And early on in the second half, my thoughts were kind of reinforced because it looked like we were going for that. We're pushing them early. We're taking a lot of long shots, which I don't really see too often from Liverpool's players. So Mendy dealt with them quite well, pushing him away and stuff like that. And Chelsea obviously reacted to that by trying to close down the attempts from long range. I felt like once Chelsea started to weather the storm, it started to look like we started running out of ideas pretty quick. I was very impressed with how focused and well-drilled they were. And they just seemed really well organised under Tuchel. I felt like we should have stretched them a bit wider and we're playing a little bit too narrow. I don't know, Tris, if you think so, if you've got anything to add on that?
Yeah, like I was said in the thing, I would have liked to have seen Elliott and Henderson swap sides so they could have got more width and and put more crosses in, and allowed Salah and Mane to just stay central and look to get on the end of it rather than running out wide. And also, I would have liked to have seen this carry on shooting from the edge of the box. We've just stopped doing it.
Me too.
What happens with that? I mean, that was actually causing them problems, and we just stopped.
Yeah.
Well, crack on, mate, because I'm enjoying what you're saying, mate. Crack on.
Yeah, like I agree with Tris as well. I was enjoying the long range shots.
Well, you don't want to do that, mate. Believe me.
But I used to play keeper myself, so I know it can get hard, especially when a shot's coming from outside the box. Obviously, the level I played against wasn't like Liverpool, but when you're forced to make a save, it's you're either gonna save it and it's gonna go for a corner. You're going to push it back in the danger area. So, like Tris, I would have really liked to see a bit more of that. I think Jota had a good chance with a header, and Salah played an outside the foot ball through, which is very nice. And I think he split two players and he got on the end of that. So that was a good chance. But I felt like as the time was going on in the second half, I could see Chelsea's belief growing that they could grind out this result. They just, grew in confidence and they got a lot better, and we just looked like, what are we going to do now? It was just like I said, running out of ideas. Martip blocked Lukaku's shot as they had one of the. They didn't have much of the ball, but there was Lukaku's effort in the second half. Martip blocked. If that had went in and we went 2-1 down, I think that would have been pretty catastrophic considering the circumstances. But I felt, as I was reading Triss's review during the week, and I agree with the subs coming on a bit too late. In particular, Tsimikas and Thiago. I think they probably could have come on a bit earlier. And at the end of the day, when the final whistle went, I kind of felt like it was dropped, 2 points dropped. And I know it's probably being a little bit dramatic, but I felt really disappointed in how we played the second half. I felt as if it was a really good chance to get 3 points against a genuine title contender.
Did you think... Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, you go.
I was just going to ask, did you think the same as me about Tsimikas should have started rather than Robertson?
Look, me and my mates were talking about it all week, and I was of the opinion of, if Robbo's fit, we've got to start him. But
really,
as the game, that was how I was thinking going into it. But then I was, during the game, I was like, I think that was a mistake to start him. So I obviously would have called that wrong. Flops called that wrong. I think you could tell he was a bit rusty. His work rate's always there. He's always, bombing up and down. But, corners, delivery wasn't there on the day. I'm of the opinion that I remember, I've seen a pattern. I love Robbo as a player, but I feel like he gets a lot more better delivery when the ball's in movement compared to a corner where the ball's dead. That's what I've noticed with him. I love him. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a fantastic left back, and we're very lucky to have him. But I just feel like sometimes his delivery can let him down, especially when we need it.
Yeah.
On a dead ball, you mean? On a dead ball, yeah?
Yeah, dead ball, compared to when it's either played off or flicked on when the ball's moving.
My issue...
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, my issue...
No, go for it, bro.
Tsimikas, should he have been dropped, is what I meant, really. I mean, do you not think that was harsh?
Yeah, I think now, obviously, after the result, it's easy to say, for me, it's harsh. But leading up to the game, I was just, I'm just so used to having Robbo there. I was like, look, if he's fit, he's got to start. But I do think Tsimikas should have probably started in the end, yeah.
For me, I think it sends out the wrong message. If Tsimikas is playing well, play him until he's not playing well. Let Robbo force his way into the side. The same with Bobby Firmino coming on for Jota. I thought they were
Here we go.
Well, I'm just saying. Jota's been playing well. He's been scoring goals. How can you drop him for Bobby Firmino?
Some problem in Hungary, then, I see.
What? Do you think it was the right decision to start Fabinho?
No, I don't.
Fabinho looked well.
I think Jota should have played because he's done nothing wrong. Same with Tsimikas.
Do you know what, Billy?
Both played.
Do you know? I hear you, Billy. I really, I actually agree with you, mate. To be honest, I agree with you on the call of Bobby, and I agree with you. I knew that. I felt that he was going to play Robbo ahead of Tsimikas anyway. I said that on the site, but I do agree. I think what's this? Listen, you can take lessons in victory, but the most important lessons come from defeat. Yeah, I think this lesson, what Klopp will have learned, especially, is that you don't drop players that are in form. So I think he'll take this. This will be his takeaway now from this game. That listen, let's all face it. He probably messed up. This was a mistake. He didn't make the right calls, and he made a mistake. And I think he'll learn from this, and he won't do it in the future. He needs to trust his players even in the big games. He needs to trust the understudies in the big games. Like Rob, honestly, go on, mate.
Yep. No,
that was really, mate. Honestly, that was really impressive. You could probably do a better pod than us on your own, than the three of us put together, mate. So
I'll say, mate. Rob, it was excellent. Excellent report there, mate.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate that, mate.
Should we just shut up and let him take over?
Just
what
finally,
is he, my wife?
I'm very impressed with Harvey Elliott as well. I think he's gonna be something special for us. So I'm very happy he's come back off his loan, and he's being, I didn't expect it for him to, for example, start games this season like the way he has. So I'm very impressed. I think he's definitely deserved his place, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of him in the future.
Good point, mate. Really good point. And then that highlights what I just said as well. Let me ask you guys. Deeps, I want to ask you, because you've not spoken for a while.
Damn it.
Yes, mate.
There are 4 of us, not 3, except Rob.
Oh, yeah. Go, mate. Thank you. Deeps, did Klopp not take a chance on Tsimikas because he's taken a chance with Elliott? So I'm just saying, did he not have the courage of his convictions to play Tsimikas because he's playing Elliott, which is a wild card?
I don't know why he took the decision, but like we discussed last week, I think it was the wrong decision to take.
No. Yes, we agree. What I'm saying is he's playing Elliott, right? Which is not. He's a wild card. He's never playing Elliott, but playing Tsimikas as well. Is that going? That's too wild. That's what I'm asking you.
It might be too adventurous, but I would have preferred him to take a chance with Tsimikas and maybe give Thiago the start and bring Elliott to change the game. I would have done things that way around if I had to choose.
I think
between the two, but
between Elliott and Tsimikas, you mean?
Yeah, for the Chelsea game.
That's a very, very, very interesting point you just made, mate. Tristan, Billy, Rob, what do you think about that? That's a really, really interesting one. Would you have gone, Tristan? I know. What do you think?
Sorry, I missed that. I was putting something on the. I was typing something up on the the chat thing for. So I was just finding the message on the shirt of Sterling because he's got in trouble.
Deeps made
the England game.
Deeps just made a great point, right? He said he wouldn't have trusted both Tsimikas and Elliott to start, and I'm thinking, yeah, maybe as well, because what would you have done there? Would you have trusted Elliott and Tsimikas to start? Obviously, with the benefit of hindsight. Rob, Billy, what do you think about that?
I would have gone with that. You keep Tsimikas because he's playing well. I don't see the issue.
So you'd have gone both. You'd have gone both Elliott and Tsimikas.
I don't see the issue at all. I can understand the call with the one I could understand was the Jota call because yes, he's scoring goals, but his touch is freaking awful, and he was giving the ball away constantly. So I could understand that. That one, yeah, that makes sense. Keep possession. Bobby's better at it. That makes sense. Fabinho one was a bit of a dodgy one. I thought that was the mistake as well because he's really wasn't ready at all. He was totally out of sorts for the game.
Yeah, I thought Klopp went a bit safe. He went real safe with it. That's the feeling I got.
Yeah. Totally good. Billy, what do you think, mate?
I said before, I'd have started with Tsimikas and Jota. If Jota wasn't doing it, bring Bobby on. But,
we could have been. Go on, mate.
All I'm saying is, if people fight and work hard to get the place, and they play well, I can't see the point in dropping them. I think it sends out the wrong message to the players that, you've done well, you're playing really well, but I'm going to drop you because I'm going to put one on your pages in, and it's not right.
Yeah, you totally agree.
It's the way it used to be, though. In the 80s and that, you had your first team. Anyone that came in, they knew they were going to be pulled out as soon as as soon as your first teamer came back.
Yeah, but
I thought it was wrong then, though, Chris.
I'm with you. I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying it can work. There is times when it's worked, so it's not like it's a new phenomenon. It's not. No, it's quite a. I don't agree with it either. I think if your player comes in and he does well, he stays in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I've read so much on the site and edited all week kind of thing on this subject, but I don't care what anybody says. 11 men should be 10 men every single day of the week, every time they play. I just thought we were devoid of ideas, right? Yep. We were naive. We were devoid of ideas. Listen, I'm not saying we need more players or whatever. I just said we should have won that game. We could have been playing till now and we still wouldn't have scored. They were forget about them being all structured and resolute. They had the best defense in Europe, etc. We just can't. I cannot believe we didn't beat 10 men. Yeah. It's just.
But is that being a bit disrespectful to Chelsea?
No, they've got 10 men, Billy. They've got 10 men, Billy. Got 10 men,
but they
got a numerical advantage.
Yeah, but they sacrificed forward basically for a defender, and the defence was very solid. Yeah. And they played well. Liverpool were the greatest threats.
We didn't do anything to stretch them, make space. We just played into their hands. And again, I'm Klopp's biggest fan. He should have been sending out instruction to do this, and this. We didn't create chances. We created more with 11 against 11.
Thiago we had one earlier. Definitely.
Exactly.
Because he moves the ball quickly.
Yes. Klopp had a frigging day off at the office on Saturday last week, and I'm sorry. I'm no anti-Klopper. I love the man. I really love the guy. But listen, you got to call him out when he makes mistakes. That was a poor performance.
Do you think he'll see that as a mistake and not a safe result? Because before the game, he'd have probably taken a 1-1 against Chelsea, even at home.
But not in the circumstances. You're playing 10 men for 45 minutes. How is that not? How's that not 2 points dropped? Listen. It's disappointing. I mean, come on. Every time anybody's team that goes has 11 against 10, you expect them to win. I don't care how resolute the defense is.
And often they don't. So, more often than not, they don't. It's very rare that teams, because once they sit back, it becomes more difficult because they're not attacking. They're not coming out and leaving any space for you to use it at all. So
we didn't stretch the play in any way, shape, or form.
I agree with you. I'm just saying you've got to remember that it doesn't work like that. It's not as simple as you've suddenly got a numerical advantage. They work on this in training every single day.
Yes, but Tristan, shouldn't they been having? They should have been getting instruction from the touchline. Go wide, go wide, go wide. We've got two players.
Well, they did go wide, but the problem was they were going wide with the wrong players were going wide. Salah was constantly wide. He should have been the one in the box waiting for the ball in.
Box, exactly, with Robertson and Trent.
And Trent kept undercutting rather than going out wide. Are you thinking?
Exactly. So go out wide, and they go out wide with you, and you've got space all of a sudden in the middle. Jota would have had a field day. Listen, I'm sure they made the mistakes. They won't do it again. It'll be a learning curve for everybody. Okay. And then you've got players like Rudiger, who's an absolute. I mean, imagine having him in your team. It gives you so much inspiration.
What?
He's so confidence inspiring. I love Rudiger.
Are you talking about the same?
You don't think so?
He's positionally awful.
I'm
talking about his personally. I'm talking about his personality. He really, really galvanizes a team.
Nah, he's not. I don't rate him at all. No, he can't. His passing's woeful. His touch is terrible, and he's all over.
But then he's got
defensively.
Yeah, but he's got Christensen helping him out, so they make.
He's Harry Maguire, and but skinny.
I'm talking about his personality. I think he brings that fighting spirit, that warrior spirit to your team that you need.
Don't see that at all with him. I don't rate him in this. I'm sorry. He's very average defender for me.
Guys, what do you think of Rudiger?
Bit of a dirty player too.
Billy, Rob, Deeps, what do you think of Rudiger?
Not a big fan, to be honest with you.
My God,
he's okay. He has some good games, but it's not what you'd say, what a good player he is. He's a decent fullback, but that's as far as it goes for me with Rudiger.
Yeah,
I'd rate him as I think everybody needs a player like that in the squad, just to you need a hard man in there. I really do believe that, and I just don't think Liverpool have one of those.
Van Dijk.
Yeah, I never see Van Dijk getting in the thick of it. He's always in the background.
because
I don't
he
remember
doesn't
seeing
need
get
to.
stuck in.
Henderson's straight in there. Robertson's straight in there. I don't know
Robertson,
what Robbo's freaking nails. Like he's the first one in the middle of it. In fact, he's normally caused it if there's a ruckus, isn't he? Let's be honest. And Tsimikas has shown he can mix it. You can put him on the ground and he just carries on.
Yeah. They're a unit. They're a proper weapon, that Chelsea team. And I mean, they're going to be. I mean, you finish above them, you're probably going to be Premiership champions. So
they'll be there.
Absolutely. And again, we'll go on to the transfer window in a minute, and they've strengthened. And wow, there's some team though. But I mean, yeah.
There's one player I could have in my team. It'd be him.
Yeah, if you're picking a world team, the first player you're going to pick, isn't it? He's the outstanding player in the world game. You know, the one player that stands out that could improve any team.
Yeah. Well, Billy's going to choose Bobby Firmino in his first 11 straight away.
No, Luca Dean.
I've got to think about it first.
Luca Dean would be first.
Listen, how good were Chelsea? I mean, I've got to. I'll give the plaudits to Chelsea. They were so good because you go 10 against Liverpool at Anfield, they're facing the Kop, and you do it without Kante in the second half. Now that takes some doing. So they were fantastic. You know what I mean? People say Chelsea, whatever. I just thought they were brilliant to a man.
Yeah, they were really good. Well organised. They knew what they were doing. And they did it really well. Can't argue.
Oh, here's a question.
Yeah, positive result for Chelsea.
What's the question? I'm waiting for the question. Has he gone? Has he fallen asleep?
I think so.
The hell up? Has he gone off? No, he's still on. What the?
It's still on, but
he's got a cob on because we don't like Rude again.
Oh, it's because Rob's not kissing up to him enough. That's what it is. He's been looking forward to this since I found out that you were his fanboy. He's been desperate to get some adulation.
What's that, mate?
Oh, here he is. Sorry, what was the question?
What do you think would have happened if it was 11 against 11?
Exactly the same.
A draw, Billy, you saying?
Yeah, exactly the same. Yeah, the numerical advantage didn't alter the game whatsoever. It stopped Chelsea going forward as much, but they were very strong in midfield and in defence, and Liverpool couldn't break them down. And I think it might have been a few more chances for Chelsea, but I think the result would have stayed the same, 1-1.
Would have been a great game,
mate. Gotcha.
Yeah. The red card ruined the game.
It was fantastic first off, really watchable and enjoyable. Even though we were losing, it was still a really good watch. Like, edge of the seat stuff.
I felt that they could have been 2 up at least because Kai Havertz had a really decent opportunity to slip Lukaku in, and he would have been 1-on-1 with Alisson. And that could have been 2-0. And I think you're right, Rob. They had us rocking. They were playing. They took what we had and they gave it back to us. And I'm not sure if we'd have been on a winning team had it been 11 against 11. But and again, who knows? Guys, what I wanted to get you is a couple more points on the Liverpool-Chelsea game. I want to get your impression on Mane. Deeps, you want to go answer this one? I want to get everybody's thoughts on this one. How's he doing? Because he didn't have the best game in the world against Chelsea. The first 2 games of the season were pretty decent. What's going on there?
He just needs to calm down a little bit. When he gets the ball, he just seems too anxious to do everything by himself. So
yeah.
I think
is it a lack of form, Deeps? Is it just a lack of he's lost ability?
I think it's most. It might be a little bit of like a or loss of. I think the main thing is it's just loss of form resulting in loss of confidence and then
Do you think it was
Billy,
the form?
Tris,
You
Rob?
don't think it was the fact that Chelsea just made sure they had defence in depth, so even if he got past a man, there was always somebody else there. He was usually facing two men constantly.
Yeah, they gave him no room.
Yeah,
They marshalled him really well.
yeah, every time he did
Listen,
some
I
spill
don't
to
wanna
get past
make-
one, there was somebody else there blocking it, so he couldn't go anywhere.
I don't want to make excuses for anyone. I don't make excuses for footballers. But since Mane had COVID, he hasn't been the same player.
That's true.
Right, and you talk about long COVID, people are saying, and it's going to become more prevalent in the league. Since he's had COVID, he hasn't played at all up to what he can play. For me, he's looked a bit sluggish, and I'm not saying that that's his excuse, and I'm not making excuses for him, but it might be a factor of why he has not played as well as he can play. Because on his day, he's a fantastic footballer.
Yeah, I can agree with that to an extent. Yeah, I agree.
Tristan?
You got to say you don't, without actually knowing his health status and that, it does. He has definitely lost form since then. He came back and he's been a changed man. There has been signs that he was getting back to form this season, but only, it's still only flashes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Does he justify his place in the? Does he justify his place in the team?
I think he does.
Yeah, I think you've got to, haven't you? You got to start him. He's still. I mean, he frightened Chelsea enough that
Who's
they were
going to
putting
come
two
in
men
for
on him.
Who's going to come in for him, Abid? Who's going to replace him?
Jota.
Jota, for me, has got to play the Bobby Firmino role, and Bobby stays
You
on the
think so,
bench.
man? I think he's more of a weapon on the left.
And me, I think he's better on the left
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, I like him on the left. Yeah.
I'd play Elliot as well. Is the one I think should be playing the Firmino role.
Through the middle, yeah, exactly.
I would love to see him play there. I think that's where his future lies.
Very well could be.
You're going to have fun with this guy too, like Klopp said. Next question. Chelsea are facing disciplinary action for the melee. What I wanted to get, guys, this is the question I wanted to ask you. Just finishing off with Liverpool. Michael Edwards, there's rumours, media outlets suggesting that he's leaving. How's that going to affect Liverpool? Tristan, how about you?
Well, I thought this was already. I thought he'd already announced he was going at the end of the season anyway. I thought that was one of the. Got that mistaken? I thought this was like. I think
it was I think yesterday it was announced that there was speculation. It was in the media that he was going to leave, and I'd heard of it before. I don't know if you guys had.
I'm sure I remember during the close season that he was. There was this was his last season. I'm sure maybe it was Ed 2 had said something about it rather than it had been in the media. Then maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just
exactly.
sure I read somewhere that he'd say that this was him his final season at Liverpool, and I'm sure we discussed it on the editor's widget. That's why I'm. So
I didn't. I don't recollect that, mate. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I
don't know if the others
got that completely wrong. I might have been talking like said with Ed too, because I would have thought I'd remember though him compared to you, because he speaks proper English and is intelligent. But it's been a long time between then, so maybe I could have got you two mixed up.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But
so how do you think this is going to affect us pretty much adversely? No, or is Julian Ward the would-be successor an adequate replacement?
It's hard to say, isn't it? But you'd expect him to struggle to replace Edwards. Some of the stuff he did, it wasn't good, was it? He caused a few problems. But his selling and buying and selling players.
What problems did he cause?
didn't he cause a few issues with teams? I'm trying to remember what. See, that now I'm second guessing myself because I can't I can't remember where I read about him going, and that's what's bothering me. But didn't he have a few issues with falling out with clubs and that, you know?
No idea,
over
mate.
Transfer,
no idea. But...
he hadn't conducted himself. Didn't he conduct himself badly in over this thing as well? The European Super League thing.
I'm not aware of that, mate. Yeah. I'm not aware of that, pal. I don't know. I'm just my point of the point of asking that question is okay. Look at David Dean leaving Arsenal. They went downhill. Look at the United fella. I can't remember his name after Alex Ferguson. They went downhill after that. I mean, is that going to have the same effect?
Time will tell, won't it?
The difference at Arsenal was they had Kronk, so it was a changeover from a regime that was earning, that was spending money to help Wenger win things, and it was run for it to be a football club rather than a business,
Right.
And at the time Dean left, it changed over to be a business first and then a football club second. When Ferguson left, it was at the same time as... Oh my God, what was his name?
David Gill.
That's it, Gill.
David Dean.
It was at the same time.
David Gill.
Yes, exact same time David Gill left was the same time as Ferguson left, and so they had to change over to Edward Woodward, who didn't have a fucking clue what he was doing. He'd never worked in football. He was a merchant banker, literally, that's
a good analogy, that. Yeah. A merchant banker.
He was.
A lot of people.
Well, that's what he got the job. He got the job because he was the man that set up the deal to buy United for the Glazers. That's why he got the job, not because he nothing about football. He'd never been involved in football other than that. So, he was literally a merchant banker as well as figuratively.
Cockney diamond slang.
Yeah, exactly.
So what you're saying is Liverpool have going to have a year at least to groom somebody for its successor to be get his feet under the carpet. So it should be a smoother transition than Gill and Dean.
Yeah, and hopefully Klopp will still be in situ as well to help him through. You know what I mean? It's not. It took a while before the effects were felt at Arsenal. Let's put it that way, because they still had Wenger.
Yeah.
So it was more.
By all accounts. Sorry, mate. I didn't mean to interject
go on.
rudely.
I was just, finishing it off. So go on.
Yeah. I was from by all accounts, Julian Ward is the one that got €9.5 million for Shaqiri, because from the opening salvo of, I don't know, €5 million or something like that. And they actually, I think Leon actually went on Leon's website. They actually said words to the effect of, "We'd like to congratulate Julian Ward for the efforts he put into this transfer," which I found a bit peculiar. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, no, you don't often hear the other club mention things like that. It normally kept secret, isn't it? Confidential rather than secret, I should say.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, let's watch this space, see how that transpires. Let's crack on, guys, to Burnley Leeds tonight. Leeds United 1-1. I know for a fact nobody watched this.
Decorating again.
Yeah. Rob, save the day, mate, please.
I wish I could, mate. I think I was sleeping.
Fair enough. Deeps, did you watch it?
No, absolutely not.
It was on in the background, but I was doing something. I was busy doing the match review for Liverpool-Chelsea, so couldn't really watch it properly. So unfortunately,
I think
I love watching Leeds under Bielsa as well. I was gutted.
I think the two listeners that are listening probably forgive us for that. Overlooking
6.
But, seriously?
Yeah. Obviously, Rob's family's listening.
I was going to say, I think it's probably my friends.
No, I said 6, not 1.
Rob, none of them are Burnley fans or Leeds United fans, are they? Your mates that are
Nah,
listening?
you
Right,
don't
fair enough
find
then,
many of
fair.
those down here.
Brilliant. We can gloss that then. All right, guys, let's get on to Tottenham versus Watford. 1-0 to Tottenham. Anybody watch it?
I kind of
What's that,
I
mate?
did watch it. I watched
Fair
it.
enough, Peach. Crack on, mate. You can save the day. Go on.
Well, Tottenham are decent defensively, not conceded any goal. They go 1-0 up and then shut up shop. And Watford are mostly toothless, and that's about it.
They're a poor side, aren't they, Watford? Or is it just me that thinks that?
They just don't have the cutting edge right now. They just don't work, and everything is just try and get the ball to Ismail Assar and let him do something with it.
Deeps, I can't make my about Sarr. Is he any good?
He's inconsistent, he's raw, but his issue is he's getting old and he's not improving.
Is it me or just everybody else having trouble with Deeps listening to Deeps?
He just always sends me to sleep, so
I'm having trouble. Just.
No, what I'm saying is,
I hear you better now, mate.
He's very inconsistent with his end product. He's a very raw player, but he's getting a bit older now.
Back, mate. Is anybody there?
Hello?
Yep.
Hello?
yeah.
Yes.
I can hear Deeps. I can hear Deeps. I can hear Rob. I can hear Tristan. I can't hear Billy.
Can't hear me, mate. No.
Oh, yeah, you're sounding like a bit of a robot, Bill.
Oh, do I?
Oh, no, you sound better. Yeah, cool. All right, I can hear everybody. Go on, Deeps. Sorry about that, pal.
Yeah, Ismail Assar is a bit raw. He's very inconsistent with his end product.
Right.
I think he's going to be a good player, though. I think he's going to be a good player. He's got skill.
He's bloody quick.
And he's only young.
He's bloody quick, mate.
On the Barbie.
I knew you were going to say that. I was waiting for someone to say that. I was just thinking, someone's going to say shrimp on the Barbie.
Just say it one more time for us, because nobody wanted to bring it up because we thought it was going to be racist or something.
One more time.
Go on, mate.
Shrimp on the Barbie.
We didn't want to get arrested or anything.
What do we think of Spurs, by the way? What do we think of Spurs? What are their aspirations for the season? What you say?
I don't think they're as bad as people are making out. I think they've got a real chance at top four. I think he's kind of galvanised them. He's given a breath of fresh air. He's clearly brought in a couple of signings, and I just don't think that they'll be challenging for a top four spot.
I can't agree with you, I'm afraid.
I'm with you, Bill.
I think the top four.
Hey, Cooper.
I think the top four are already sorted, aren't they? I don't think anyone's going to break into the top four this year. And least of all Tottenham. I don't think they've got enough. I know they've brought a couple of players in, but they're very run-of-the-mill for me, and they're not great to watch. Son is a lovely player, and he's in a very average side, but he stands out so much. And Harry Kane, if he gets firing again, probably will. But the rest of them, if you've got Harry Winks on your side, you can't be a good team, I'm afraid. He's awful.
Oh, wow.
He is bad.
Peach, you were going to say something, Rob? Tristan?
Oh, just Son's an amazing player.
Yeah.
I think he's Tristan's favourite.
He is amazing.
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah, he's very, very exciting to watch.
I like that. We've just had a comment saying about it. Stephen Leggett wants to thank us for our work with the Make-A-Wish Foundation to give 666 a podcast.
That's my mum. Yeah, go on. We're talking about Son.
Yeah, no, he's just very exciting to watch, and he's an absolutely great player. So he stands out at Tottenham. Bit with Billy, bit wasted. He could probably go on to a better club, I should say, to maybe win something, because I can't see Spurs winning anything.
Yeah, I was surprised he signed a new contract, to be honest with you, at Tottenham. I thought he could have had his pick of clubs. And that's a real statement.
Yeah, I don't get why
Chris,
he did that.
Were we interested in him when he left Leverkusen to come to...
A lot of people were, but he wanted to go to London.
Okay.
When he moved to England.
If I was Liverpool, I'd offer 100 million and Bobby Firmino for Son.
Well, at the time when we were interested in him, that was who he was. That was the role he was. We were between him and Firmino at the time. It was that time.
Bad choice, then, wasn't it? Really bad choice.
I don't know, but Firmino won a Champions League, a Club World Cup, and a Premier League. Son has won. What did he win?
He's won the hearts of the Tottenham faithful. That's what he's won.
Yeah. So I don't think I can agree with you there, Bill. I think Bobby Firmino's proven himself to do the job. I mean, Son might have won more with Liverpool. You can't tell. I love Son, but I think Firmino turned out to be a good choice as well. I would have preferred.
I think he started off great, but he's been missing for 3 years. But besides that, he was a good player before, but he's been missing for 3 years.
At the time, though, I'd have to agree. I would have taken Son rather than Bobby Firmino at the time.
Yeah. I think he fits into Liverpool side really well.
I love him. I absolutely love him. I loved him even before, before then. I thought he was brilliant. From the first moment I watched him, I thought, that lad's a player. But then the first time I was watching him was in the Asian qualifiers, Asian Cup qualifiers, I think it was. And you think, God, that lad's a player. And then you're thinking, or is it just the quality of the opposition? So you keep watching him, you think, no, he's fucking brilliant.
He's a player. He's definitely a player.
He was too good for the Asian when he was in the actual Asian Cup, he was just so much better than everyone else. It was like watching an adult play kids games. He was just so good compared to the rest. It was embarrassing.
Lovely player, he is.
So much skill as well.
Tottenham what's happening with Ndombele? What the hell is happening there? What a player! And he can't get into the Spurs side.
Well, they've got Harry Winks.
Well, I don't think
would you want Ndombele when you got Harry Winks?
I don't think he suits the British game, possibly. He's
good.
He's a fantastic footballer. He's a fantastic footballer. But does he like the rough and tumble? I thought he would. I thought he'd excel.
No, he's all right with that. His problem is, and this was what happened. This is why he was frozen. He had a falling out with Jose Mourinho. Is that in training he doesn't turn it on. He doesn't really do enough in training. And Mourinho doesn't like it, and Nuno doesn't like it either. He'd rather have a player who works really hard but is crap than a player like Ndombele who doesn't do as much in training but then turns up on the day and is fantastic. It's like that Rajin Nangalan he reminds me of. Didn't do anything. It was terrible in training.
Roma.
He's just been released now, hasn't he? But
he was,
he's in his mid-30s now. But like when he was younger, he'd live his life. He was always out clubbing and stuff like that.
Partying,
Didn't train very well, but when when the game came, he was freaking awesome. You know what I mean? He was real player, but he just didn't train well. Some players are like that, and I think he's one of them. Ndombele.
All right.
DP Weepy.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Mate.
You haven't fallen
asleep yet?
Are you ready, darling? All right, it's Wolves 0, Man United 1. Take it away, Deeps.
It's the heist of the century.
I love that. Love that. Good line, mate. Love that.
How did we get out of that game with a point, let alone 3. I don't know. How did we keep a clean sheet? I don't know. Well, I know because it was Adama Traore.
Yeah, that's the thing you had. Every chance falling to him helps.
I can guarantee you,
Love
any other 18 teams in the league, and we're 2-0 down within 15 minutes.
And that penalty, how's that penalty not been given?
What
It was
penalty?
against Man United. You won't get a penalty there.
I quite like watching Man United now because they'll kind of give away. They'll score, but they'll also give away chances as well. It's quite interesting, exciting game watching United play.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry,
I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy the game. Maybe
you were
did
awful,
as a
mate.
neutral.
Awful.
Awful would be like praising us.
What a great double save by De Gea, though.
Oh,
I know it was a bad miss. Don't get me wrong, it was a bad miss, but what a fantastic save he made.
Oh, one of our eight things he was just back finish and he was falling down and everything. How can you say that?
Deeps, has he cemented the place, De Gea, or is it still a toss-up between the two?
Well, he has to because Henderson's fitness is still under question, so we have to assume that it's done and dusted for the here and now.
Surely it comes down to how you want to play anyway with those two. Henderson if you're playing out from the back, De Gea if you're not. If you're sitting back and playing Ole style, De Gea is a much better keeper.
No, but like I was saying it with Rob before as well. It shouldn't matter how good you are with your feet if you can't keep the ball out of the net as a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Same goes with defenders. If you can't defend well, what's the point in having someone who can ping the ball 60 yards?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
right now, De Gea is still a better keeper, and especially if he finds his form, then there's no one better.
Mm. He's one of those keepers that's capable of, just pulling off amazing things. I've always liked De Gea. I think he's, not as probably good as he was a few years back, but in terms of freak saves and, things that he does that a lot of other keepers couldn't, he's brilliant at that.
I don't think his head was in the right place when Madrid came in for him and it got turned down.
Yep.
And I think that affected his game a lot.
Mm.
And I don't think he's the greatest keeper, but he's a very good shot stopper.
Yeah, extremely good shot stopper.
Yeah, but I think that's all of his game. He's not great with his feet. He's not great on crosses, to be honest with you. But as a saver of shots and that, there's no one better than him.
Yeah, so I mean, you leave him on his line, he's fine. But if he has to come out and play, he's terrible.
Yeah.
You don't want, that's why I'm saying, if you want a keeper to come out and play, you need somebody other than De Gea.
Yeah.
You're right, Rob.
A question for you guys. Firstly, who would you pick for Manchester United? Number one, and secondly, would you rather sell both and bring someone else, or persevere with one of them right now?
The keeper spot.
Yeah, the number one.
I'd go with De Gea, mate. You'd have to give him I think buying another keeper is just, it's just a folly. It's a waste of money, isn't it? You can't keep spending gazillions. Well, I suppose you can in Man United.
Yeah, I was just going to say we can.
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
I'd stick
That's
with
a good
De Gea.
question, dude. Yeah, I would too. And I think Rob's right when he says he is, when it comes to making freak saves, De Gea is a class apart. Maybe Alisson's in there somewhere, but he does, you're right, that freak is the right phrase to use. He does make freaky saves, like unbelievable ones. He may not be, like you said as well, he may not be in the form of his life, but he's capable of those saves.
Alisson just makes it look easy though with his positioning. You know, some of the saves he pulls off, they look quite generic, but it's like he's put himself in a really good position to make that save instead of having to full stretch and show all sorts of acrobatics. That's what I love about Ellison. His
Good
positioning is second to none.
He does the basics very well, so
yeah,
he can pull off saves. Yeah, Tristan, what do you think about the goalkeeping situation at Man United?
As I said, it depends on how you want to play. If you're playing a defensive system the way Ole wants to counter, sit deep and counter, then De Gea is perfect for that because he'll just stop shots. But if you want to be more expansive and play off the front foot with a keeper that comes out and is on the ball, then you've got to go with Henderson. And he is a good keeper. He just hasn't he hasn't been able to cement the place and get a run. That's what he needs.
Deeps, let me ask you, Deeps, how happy or unhappy? What's your opinion on Man United 3 games in?
Same old, same old.
So you're ambivalent towards it, right?
Kind of. Right.
Okay, guys. I think let's move on to the transfer window. Dramatic last week of the window, to say the least. Let's talk about the most monumental transfer of the lot. Solomon Rondon for Everton. Billy, your thoughts, please.
As good as we could afford is what I'm going to say. I actually like Rondon.
Yeah.
But I liked him at West Brom. I thought he's a hard-working grafter, which Benitez likes. He costs no money. He's going to be back up all year to see how he's fit. But
mate,
he's a man to come on the bench.
My sources tell me Everton fought off competition from Madrid, Paris Saint-Germain and Liverpool to land Rondon. So I bet you're chuffed a bit, Tony.
He's better than Bobby. Put it that way, happened before Bobby.
Hey, listen, I'm not being funny. The guy does a job. He had a job at Everton, and I think you were saying on the widget he was at West Bromwich Albion in the Premiership, right?
Yeah. And do you know what? He scores goals and he works hard. And if you give him service, he scores goals. Make no mistake about it. He's not a major signing, a marquee signing or anything. But, we're not in the position to buy great players at the moment. And he's as good as we're getting for a nominal fee or a nil fee. Yeah. So if he gives everything for Everton, the fans will take to him. If he works hard, that's all I can say about Rondon.
Did you get rid of James in the end or not?
No, unfortunately, we didn't. No one's going to pay 200,000 a week for a player who doesn't do that much.
Yeah, Turkish teams can still buy, and Portugal.
Turkey for a turkey. There's more where that came from, lads. Don't worry about it. Right.
Please no.
I mean, we've got to talk about. I mean, that's where we've got to talk about. If we're talking transfer window, we've got to talk about CR7. Deeps. What say you, mate? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
How can anybody give thumbs down?
He's blocking the path of a few players.
Whom?
Ronaldo. He ain't the Ronaldo of old. Juventus finished 4th last season with him in its scoring goals. So that Ronaldo effect, I'm not sure if it's still there or not. Oh no, I'm not playing devil's advocate. I don't know. He could have a phenomenal season, and you could win the Champions League. The Premiership. Greenwood. Sorry.
No, if anybody is blocking Greenwood's path, it's going to be Sancho, and I don't think Sancho is as good as Greenwood right now.
Forever.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think Sancho's going to have that galvanising effect for you guys, but you think CR7 is a great signing, a positive thing to do, off the pitch, on the pitch, etc.
On the whole, I think it's a great signing. Just as a player on the pitch, I think it's just a good signing.
Do you think he's going to have the effect where he takes you to the Premiership title? Because that's what they bought him for, really, isn't it?
No, because we have Ole at the wheel.
What did he say? I was reading text.
Because we have Ole at the wheel.
Mate, so what your window has been Sancho, Varane, and Ronaldo, right?
Yeah.
As transfer windows goes, that's pretty special by anybody's reckoning. I mean, anybody had done that in world football, you'd have been saying, wow. So, Man United have done it, and you still don't think you're going to win the league?
They didn't get what they needed.
Sorry.
Is
Varane anything special? I'm not convinced. Apart from the fact he's injury prone, from what I've seen of it, I just remember him always being injured. I'm not that impressed with him. He's not injury prone anymore. Is he not? Has he sorted that? Was that just when he was younger?
Yeah, in the last 2-3 seasons, he hasn't missed more than 5 games a season with injury.
But
Diggs, why didn't you buy?
He's got no positional sense, and he's playing He's going to be playing alongside Maguire, who's got no positional sense. Just seems like a bit of a disaster to me. They needed someone like Ruben Dias from Man City bought someone like that, not just a name. Torres. They're buying a name rather than the player.
Torres would have done well for them. I think that'd have been a good purchase.
Any good, or is just your fascination?
Listen, I don't have fascination for footballers, mate. Not like you.
But do you not think that they've just bought names rather than the best players?
Yeah.
That's how it feels to me. Sancho, I don't see the hype about him at all. I do not understand it. He's got skill, but he only works when he only ever looks good when he comes on late in games against tired legs. Varane, he's not good positionally. He's never looked a good solid defender for Real Madrid ever, from what I've seen of him. I just don't understand the hype with him. And he's not young either, is he? Isn't he 29?
He's 28.
28, sorry. So he's not a young player who's learning. And then they've brought Ronaldo in, who's clearly over the hill and on the long way down the slope towards the end. And really probably was lucky to find a club like United and City needing a player like that for different reasons. In United's case, it's all about the fans. For City, it was because they haven't got a striker. So if they hadn't been, I just don't think he wasn't as good for. He wasn't that good for Juventus last season, but he'll still pop up and score goals. He'll contribute. I think he's a. But is he?
I think he's a great signing. I think he's a great signing for United. Not only
for what reason? Commercially, or what he does on the pitch?
Commercially as well, but what he puts on the pitch, he's still a quality. At 36,
he'll score goals.
Still a very fit footballer. He's one of the best in the air to score goals and to score headers. And he's going to bring more than what other players in the side are. The only thing I will say is they missed a trick for me. They needed a Declan Rice for me.
Yeah,
and I think the money he spent on Sancho, who is going to be a big part player for me, for United, I think they should have spent the money more wisely, and I think they should have broke the bank for Declan Rice, who I think would do a lot better job for United than what Sancho was going to do.
Yeah, mate, they totally needed a number 6.
Yeah,
number 6 they needed so badly.
Well, come on, we can say we needed this player, that player, but actually what we need is a Conte instead of Ole.
Yeah, but didn't
we can
that's fair.
We can combine the Man City and Chelsea squad and give it to Ole, and I would still back them to finish second, third, or fourth.
Do you not feel though the way they're building the squad is more like the way Real Madrid were doing when they were buying big names rather than building a team, and when they just went through a period where Barcelona dominated because they weren't buying a team, putting a team together, they were just buying big names. That's how it feels with United at the moment.
Yeah, Hollywood names.
Yeah, it's not. It's not putting a team together saying, right, we need a defensive midfielder to sit in there because Fred's clearly not good enough. He's barely able to control a football to any, to a child's level, let alone a professional footballer's level. You need someone better than him in there. Why didn't you go out? That should be what your priority is. You needed 2 centre-backs. You bought one, and it's arguable that he's not that much of an improvement apart from being quicker.
We can say Varane is not best player to be buying for United, but the issue is Pau Torres was allegedly our number 1 target. Didn't want to leave Spain. That is.
Yeah, I can understand that, but what I mean is they've gone and bought Varane because he's Raphael Varane, rather than because they've seen him and thought he's the greatest defender in the world. We need him, haven't they? That's how it feels to me, anyway. Because he plays for Real Madrid and he's a big name, rather than saying we need the best defender we can find and searching for him.
So you're thinking that Galactico's Harlem
That's it, Galacticos,
kind of
yeah.
Scattergun approach to transfers.
Yeah, it's just buying names. If Declan Rice had been a huge star, they'd have bought him.
Yeah.
That's why they didn't buy him, because he's not a big name.
So let me ask you, if the whole world can see, like Deeps, Man United through and through, is a Man United supporter, if he can see that they need a number 6, Billy can see they need a number 6, right? Why can't Man United see they need a number 6? I don't get it.
Because we are Man United and we're stupid like that. Like I can see Ole isn't good enough, but they see him good enough to give him a 3-year contract.
Do you not feel it's those above him are not worried about winning things? They're worried about what brings in the most money.
That must be the case, because
we're turning into a bit of an Arsenal.
Yeah, it's all about just making the biggest profit rather than making the best team. That's how it feels. Which is what happened with Real Madrid with the Galacticos. It wasn't about winning trophies. It was about getting the most shirt sales.
Yeah. But the issue is you don't get more money in if you don't win on a regular basis.
That's a point.
No, that's not true. Outside, a lot of people, a lot of countries around the world will. The people just follow players rather than. I meet a lot of people here that just follow players. Players they like rather than teams.
Nobody believed you when you said you meet a lot of people.
You'd be amazed though how many people don't really follow a team, as such.
No, I know, and I know it firsthand. But what I'm saying is, slowly, not right now, but in 5 years, 10 years time, slowly it's gonna reflect on your accounts. Arsenal didn't become a laughing stock in 2 years' time.
Yeah, but you're not. Arsenal weren't buying big names; they were just buying crap, really poor because they weren't spending money. And at the end of the Wenger era, they were buying cheap. They weren't spending the money. Man United are doing what Real Madrid did.
It's quantity rather than quality.
Yeah, Real Madrid were buying huge names, and it improved them as a commercial entity. No end. I mean, you only have to look at now they're getting, this deal with Jordan and stuff like that for the kits.
Yeah, but they won on
the
pitch.
They won
Jordan.
They
won 3 Champions Leagues as well on the bounce. So
yeah, but before then, I'm talking about the Galactico era. I'm talking about the Louis
Figo era.
Yeah, and that kind of thing. They weren't winning. Barcelona were dominating, but Real Madrid were still earning the most money. Sometimes it can work,
I don't see how Man United can go down that route because their fans have started beating up policemen and stuff like that, won't they?
They've been all right so far because they've got Ollie at the wheel, and there's too many of them are still still remember him for scoring 1 goal.
I just think it's a massive mistake for not buying a 6. I think it's an oversight. I don't think it's some thing that they've done intentionally.
Yeah, well, they were trying to get one, weren't they? Because they certainly tried for Camavinga. Certainly were interested in him.
So that's my.
But if
we're all gonna have.
If they'd had a big name one, I'm just saying, if there'd have been a big name one out there, they would have made sure to get him, no matter what it took, I think.
But you don't get a big name number 6. That's
well, yeah, exactly. That's the problem. And that's why you've got Fred there.
Yeah.
Deeks, who would you have brought in?
Ndidi.
Yeah, I agree.
Good choice.
Yeah, that's not a big name. It's only 5 letters.
Why not Basuma as well? I mean, he would have G'd up that midfield.
Yeah.
Fabulous player.
Yeah, but he's not a number 6. He's not a number.
He could play that role.
You've just messed up my prediction for the transfer market in January. Well done, Tristan. Thank you very much.
I'm pleased now. That's made my day.
Well, how about Saul?
That's good.
Yeah,
Well
that's
played,
another
mate.
one. Yeah.
Well played.
I mean, they've been after
Saul
him for
doesn't want to
years
play
as well.
DM.
Yeah,
Saul doesn't want to play DM. That is the issue.
What does he want to play centrally?
Yeah, he wants to play more box to box, more attacking.
Yeah. So, Rob, why don't you talk about Saul going to Chelsea, mate? Because they missed out on Koundé, allegedly. Yep. So and they got in the last minute they got Saul. What do you think of that, guys?
I was live streaming it while I was at work because at the time the window hadn't closed yet, so I had my phone going and I was watching it. And from a Liverpool perspective, I was hoping that they didn't get him because I do think he's an absolutely great player, and I wish he was someone that we looked at trying to get in. I do understand the whole Liverpool talk with the money and stuff like that, but yeah, I'm kind of jealous, to be completely honest, because I really think he's going to improve him.
Mate, we couldn't even afford to buy Saul a haircut, let alone pay his wages.
Yeah,
I did say at the start.
I think he's going to do it. Sorry, cool.
No, I was just going to say, I said at the start of the season, he'd be, start of the window, he'd be my fantasy signing for Liverpool, would have been Saul.
Yeah.
Fantastic player.
Him and Bissouma would have been my picks.
Yeah, either of them, been great.
I think Bissouma would fit our midfield like a glove.
I agree.
We could have died happy men if Saul and Basuma signed for Liverpool.
Either of them. I'd have been happy with one of them.
Yeah. Now, all right. Okay, why didn't we sign anybody, Tristan?
Money, because you can't, every team's so desperate for cash, and we simply don't have cash to pay up front. That's the issue. We can pay the big fees over a period of time, but teams want money up front because everybody was in the same position where nobody had cash this year because of the COVID thing. It's a really difficult window for everyone, and those clubs that had cash were sitting pretty. That's why Chelsea were able to get Saul at the end of the window and that, because they had the cash to spend.
So it's a 5 million loan fee and a 35 million apparently option to buy at the end of the loan.
You've
got a very good deal for Chelsea.
The issue is his wages, obviously.
Yeah, the wages would be high, but that's a very good deal for Chelsea, in my opinion.
You have to remember, in Spain, wages are reported after tax, whereas we talk about them in England before tax. So when he's being reported as on 300,000, he's not on 300,000. That's how much he takes home each week after tax.
Wow.
So when you think of you talk about, you got to remember how much he's on, and Griezmann's being paid more than him.
Yeah, he's gone back to Barcelona. How are they?
No, Atletico. That's why they offloaded Saul to make room for him on the wages.
Wow.
What would you do with all that money?
Me?
Good question.
It's unbelievable. The amount they earn is ridiculous.
I tell you what, if Tristan had that much money, he still wouldn't go out.
You could get Billy a new pair of knees.
Yeah.
You know what
as well.
You know what I'd spend it on,
Yeah, of course I know. Yeah, and it's not even perverted.
No, it's just trainers.
Trainers.
I'd spend a freaking lot on trainers.
He'd have every Nike Jordan released, every colour.
Yeah.
It was on the chase. There was a question on the chase this week. The dearest pair of trainers.
Oh, 135,000, weren't they?
No. 2.7 million is the highest paid for a pair of trainers.
Jesus.
Wow.
See, I've got a pair that's worth $2,000.
Oh yeah, no, you said on the.
I know. I don't know when. I don't know whether to wear them again or not.
Weigh them in.
Yeah.
He's only going to wear them to the kitchen. Don't worry about him going out.
You don't want to get them messy.
Tristan, you don't.
Get them dirty, like.
So that's a great segue into the transfer to PSG, actually. But I won't. So you don't. Just the last thing on Liverpool. You don't think that you don't believe that about Liverpool not. It's not that they can't afford it. It's just that they had too many players in the squad. There was no space.
That was
and
part
he's happy with his squad.
It's unloading. We needed to get rid of a few foreign players. Was one of the problems to create space for more to come in. But like I said, the biggest problem was the players that we're looking at wanted huge wages that like would have broken the back of the rest of the team, like because you'd have then had to up the wages of everyone. And it's the upfront payment. That is the biggest problem. We got away with it with Jota because we gave them Hoover. He was the down payment when we bought him last season. That's why we could do. That's what we did. But we're still paying for Jota. You know, you're still making payments on Jota now. So this is the problem. Is what they've done is from the start, they, with everyone from Alisson to Van Dijk, you're making payments in arrears constantly, and then suddenly you're finding that you've got 8 players you're paying for still when you're trying to buy players the following season. This is exactly what happened with Portsmouth and why they ended up bankrupt and going down the leagues. Is they were paying so many post payments that they couldn't buy new players and they had to sell players to make the payments. Like.
You completely understand FSG's approach to not buying anybody. Cooper.
I think they've made a mistake in the past. This was the thing: is they've got it wrong in the past. They should never have got into this situation in the first place with these post payments. It's the wrong way to do business. Making most of your payments in arrears. You try and pay as much off in front as you can, and so lessens what you've got left, so you know where you are all the time. Whereas they've trying to put it in arrears, thinking, well, we'll get in this income. And that's fine in a normal year, but we've had this, the pandemic where everyone's locked away and you've not had the income from the crowds. You've not had the same amount of sales from the club shop, for instance, as well, and things like that. So it's a massive hit in finances, and we've still had to make the same amount of payments as we were in the past.
And to be fair, we've extended some contracts as well, which is very expensive as well.
Yeah.
I
was just about to mention that.
It's personally, I just think it's been a mistake it's been coming. You know what I mean? The way they've been just trying to put things off rather than just paying them off in the first place.
But nobody could appreciate a global pandemic.
No, that's true. But I wouldn't. That's not the way you run a business. Is to put everything like that anyway. To me anyway. That's how I think of it. I think you shouldn't put things on. On a future basis all the time like that, because that just ends up, eventually it cripples you.
I just couldn't understand the Liverpool supporters wanting players like Sancho to come in just for the name. Bring someone in who's not going to fit the system, is injury prone, and they want all these names. And you've got a very good squad there. And they've done nothing but moan last week at the transfer there. It was absolutely pathetic, to be honest with you.
I mean, we got people saying there's three teams with really strong squads in the Premier League. That's why Liverpool won't finish in the top 4. It's like, what? So there's 3 teams with great squads. So Liverpool won't finish in the top 4. That still leaves a space in the top 4. You know what I mean? It's like, how do these people not see the stupidity of their whines? It's just whining for the sake of it.
It's also a sense of jealousy. Like, people will get jealous when Man City will spend 100 mil, or Chelsea bringing Lukaku for a high point. It's like, well, if they're doing it, they don't understand. They think if they're doing it, why can't we? And they sit there and they see these player announcement signings and they get all jealous. Well, everyone else is strengthening. Why aren't we doing it?
Childish.
Yeah, you're right, Rob.
Basically.
Rob's like the voice of reason.
I know, we can't have him on again. It's no good.
He's making us look like idiots.
To be fair, that's probably because we are, but you know.
Yeah. We're the name. We are our podcast. CUNT. Anyway, I was going to say, right, guys. I need to get your thoughts on this because I'm pretty incredulous at PSG saying no to 170 million for Mbappe and then losing him they're going to get him for nothing next season. I just don't get it. Why wouldn't they just let him go?
Thing to Deeps earlier. If you know you're going to lose a player to sign a pre-agreement in January to join at the end of next season, why would I understand it definitely was late in the window, but surely with the money that you've got, you can buy almost just about anyone. A lot of players would like to move there. So I don't know why you keep a hold of a player that looks like he's a certainty to go when you've been offered that much money. It didn't make sense to me.
I know what you're saying about being able to buy someone else, but do they even really need him? That's the thing.
No.
I mean, fantastic player as he is, absolutely brilliant, but do they even need him? They'll stroll the French league. Well, then again, Pochettino's in charge. They could be in trouble. Actually, I forgot about that.
They didn't do that.
Yeah. Maybe they should have brought in Ronaldo, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. I just found that. Yeah, sorry.
No, sorry, Rob. No. Go for it. Go.
No, I was just reiterating. I was just dumbfounded when I heard. I'll follow Sky and Fabrizio Romano, and I'm always trying to keep up to date because I love the transfers. And I'm sitting here reading. Real Madrid have offered. Was the initial offer 130, 140? I'm like, oh wow, that's
mate.
Yeah. There was apparently a first offer, and I was like, wow, that's huge money for someone. Although it is Mbappe, it's at the same time, he's clearly wanting to leave. He clearly wants to go to Madrid. And then when the second offer came in, I'm like, well, that'll be it now. And apparently nothing happened. So they must be trying to go all guns blazing this season, but I don't see the point of keeping him when you can cash in on him now.
I agree totally.
Yeah.
How they must... I mean, crazy. And Madrid, they're building quite a team there. I like the Alaba transfer for sure. I think he's a very, very good player.
They need a centre-back, though.
Alaba's a centre-back, isn't he?
Kind of, sort of.
Okay.
These days, more centre-back than left-back.
No, but still they need a centre-back to replace... Ramos.
Sergio Ramos, yeah.
Ramos.
They should have gone in for Pau Torres.
Oh, but you can't have a fascination for a player, mate. All right, let's finish it off and let's guys. I want to know, in the spirit of transfer windows. In the January transfer window, one transfer do you think that's going to happen?
Before we do, while you're thinking about that, can I just ask, does anyone understand why Arsenal didn't buy Bissouma? He wanted to go there.
Oh my God. Mate, sorry, I forgot. That was a great... thanks for pointing that out.
Well, I just thought give everyone... Better. Yeah. I just thought I'd give everyone time to think answer to your question because obviously it's a tough one.
Brilliant. Yeah, but they how much? I mean, they signed the defender. They can't have much more money left.
No, but they could have signed Bissouma. They've had all summer to sign Bissouma. He was ready. He was being offered to them by his agent from the start. Wanted to go there, well, bizarrely. I mean, I don't understand why Bissouma would want to go to Arsenal. He's in a better team. I mean, it's a huge step down at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm dumbfounded. I don't know. I'm incredulous at that. I'm speechless. Absolutely speechless. I don't know the answer.
He's been sensational this season again. It's like the third season in a row he's looking like a star man.
Do you think if we sort out our finances, what we're just talking about with the money situation at Liverpool, you could see us going in for him?
If we didn't, I'd want to sack the whoever's doing the scouting, because they mustn't have a clue what they're doing if they're not looking at Basuma.
Yeah.
You might
perfect.
You might be looking at him, but you need the money.
Well, that's what he's saying. If we've got the money sorted, that's what Rob was saying. Would we go for him? And I was saying, if they've got the money there and they don't go for him, then you've got to say there's a problem there. There's something wrong with the recruitment. If they're not,
yeah, but he before you start getting too dramatic, there's got to be a desire from the player to come to us as well. Clearly, he's not all there upstairs. You know, his head's scrambled because he wants to go to Arsenal. So
yeah, but would he still want to go to Arsenal now after the start they've made?
Yeah, but he would have known Arsenal are going to be what kind of calibre Arsenal are 3 games ago before the season started.
Isn't it because one of his, I've forgotten, isn't it Aubameyang? No, Pepe, that's it. Yeah, it's because it's his mate. That's the only reason he wanted to go there.
Yeah, they came through the Lille Academy, I think, spent a year or two, not too much, but still. And they said an agent as well, I think.
Yeah, they good.
Yeah, but wouldn't you want to hang around with Salah and Hendo and like Bobby and stuff instead of Pepe? I would.
Or Cristiano, maybe.
That's a point.
I don't understand why Man City didn't go in for him as well, because their midfield, I'm not convinced it's apart from De Bruyne, and he suffers so many injuries now. He seems to always be picking up knocks of some kind or other, doesn't he?
Yeah.
They've looked really. I don't think they're as good as people think they are. They've got a real problem up front. They've only got Ferran Torres, and he's not a proper striker. And the midfield just doesn't convince me. But they've got a fantastic defence. But I'm not convinced by Edison as well in goal. I know everyone seems to love him, but I think he's dodgy positionally, and he can be so bad on the ball at times.
Did you see him against Arsenal?
Well, when he kicked the ball against someone, didn't he?
Yeah, he was lingering around on the ball, kicking the ball into people. I don't understand the hype around him. Positionally, look, for me, myself, I love to take, because like I mentioned before, as a keeper, I love to look at the keepers from every team. That's one thing I've always been into. And the amount of hype and people talk Edison up to be one of the best in the world, I don't see it with him, to be honest. I think, like you said, positionally, very average. Kicking and all that, he can kick a ball near the whole field, but I don't really see the whole hype around him. I don't know how people compare him, and I know this may sound biased, but to someone like Ellison. I think Ellison's far better than Edison.
Very rash
as a keeper, Rob. As a keeper yourself, Rob. What do you think of Pickford?
Don't get me started on my best friend.
Serious question. What do you think of him
from last season? Look, I think he's got a bit better than what he was before.
Yeah.
Compared to a few years ago.
He's improved.
Kicking wise and stuff. Yeah, he definitely has improved, but I still don't think he's that good for me. I don't think he's that good. That's just my personal opinion. He has definitely come away since the last few years, especially. But look, I don't know. Everyone's got an opinion on a player. Everyone watches in a certain way. I like watching keepers. I'm a bit funny with Pickford. I just don't think he's that good. I think he's okay. I think he's improving, and that's obviously good for you and Everton fans and such, and England. But I'm not the biggest fan of him. I think he's a bit dodgy as well with his hands. Positionally, a bit funny as well. That's just what I think.
He's a shot stopper. No, we were talking about the game before. He's a shot stopper. He's not great with crosses.
Yep.
And his kicking can be all over the place.
Yeah.
But he's great on the line keeping. He makes some great saves, but he's not what I'd call a classic keeper like Alisson. Who's good at, he's got an all-round game. He's a very good shot stopper, but he's not a great keeper. But he has improved, and I think he's still improving. He's grown up a bit for me.
For me, what's changed is he's less rash.
Yep.
Yeah. But I think that's part of growing up, Tris.
Yeah.
I think he's matured a little bit, you know. And I think he's still probably in the top 5.
Do you know what's changed? I'll tell you what's most of the change is. He's not doing so much of the going out drinking with his mates from back home anymore.
Exactly, Tris. That's
or committing GBH to Liverpool defenders.
The one I'm going to be keeping my eye on this season is the new Wolves keeper. He's the one I want to have a good look at. Yeah, he's the one I want to have a good look at.
They're picking out some real players. That Trancao looks like a player at Wolves as well.
The Portugal B team.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all we call them.
Good signing, though, Trincao. I like him.
Yeah, I like him a lot. He'd be worth about 50, 60 million about a year.
Playing much better football under Large or Lager or whatever his name is.
Sure.
Yeah.
Much more interesting to watch. Nuno's awful. Terrible football under Nuno. So boring.
And then they've got Neto to come back as well in a few weeks.
What about Aldi?
Yeah.
But Tesco, mate.
You're just posh. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Obviously too rich.
Shall we crack on with the question, the prediction for the January transfer window, guys? One transfer from everybody, please.
Can I start safe? Hopefully this one's allowed. I think that Mbappe is going to agree a free transfer at the end of the season to Real Madrid.
Oh no, that's not January transfer though, mate. You know, you can't go with that one. Sorry. You're cheating there. You can't have that one.
It was all going so well, Rob, as well.
Oh.
Trying to cheat. I mean, you see, this is what happens when you get these people in. They get too big for their boots when they think they're living it up, taking over, showing us up, and then it turns out they were cheating all along.
And the Mbappe arrogance comes out.
Disappointing.
My one is going to be Declan Rice to Manchester United.
Oh, good one, mate.
Lingard to Everton.
Another good one, very possibly.
Yeah. Tristan, Rob?
Fingers crossed, Bissouma to Liverpool.
Shit, okay, mate. I was gonna
go.
I'm going to say... I forgot. Can I choose something? I'm going to say Antonio Conte to Arsenal, because they're going to be desperate by January.
Good one.
Yeah.
And I think he might be, he might take the job then, because they'll offer him anything he wants to take it.
Yeah. How about you, Abid?
I reckon Andros Townsend's little sister to Everton. I think Bissouma will go to United.
Ooh. Would love it.
I think Bissouma will go to United.
No, but there is some level of interest though.
He came out with
interested. They must be mental. It's that simple because he's that good.
But would you put it past United to be that mental? No.
Exactly. No. That's why I'm saying I don't think it'll happen, because they just don't seem to see it. He's not a big enough name. Again, that's the thing. He's not a Galacticos. So that's where the problem is.
What needs to happen? What needs to happen is Manchester City need to go after Bissouma, and then we're going to sign him.
And you buy him. Yeah.
And then just as you're about to sign him, Man City will come out and say, "Well, we didn't want him anyway. We'd already pulled out." Honest.
Yeah, but Deeps, let me just have the final word on this, mate. Why would you sign a player who's 36 years of age just so that your rivals wouldn't sign him? I just don't understand that approach. And that's the reason, because everybody's saying it. Ferguson said it as well. We couldn't have him sign him for City. I mean, what's that about? I'm again, can't believe it.
Because he's Cristiano Ronaldo, he's certainly good enough, and he's a legend.
Is he good enough?
No. Basically, I think the main reason is because the Glazers don't want to ruin the relationship with the fans anymore. It's already very poor, so I think a lot of it is
Okay,
to do
mate.
with
Yeah,
that as
you
well.
make a good point.
I think that's
You
the
make a
main
good
thing.
point.
It galvanises the fans and gets them behind the team. I think that's a huge
Yeah.
factor in it, and it's a
Isn't it said
brilliant
to be
part
like
of it. I think that's
isn't it said to be something like a conference call with Woody, Ollie, Joel Glazer, Mendes happened, and then
Knight as
yeah,
well.
yeah, and
I remember
within
saying
a
at the
matter of
time.
hours they got the deal done.
I remember saying at the furore about the ESL. I remember saying it in the live stream that the Glazers will buy affection. They'll buy affection from the fans, and nobody agreed. This is what they're doing. It's exactly what they're doing.
I still think it's just. I still think it's not that. It's more about buying Galacticos to sell shirts and stuff. I don't think they're bothered about the affection of the fans. I don't think they're bothered about the protests or anything like that. They've never shown any sign of caring before. This is just about making money.
It's pure finances for you, yeah?
Yes. They couldn't have him going to City because he's worth 10 times as much to United as he is to City.
Well, they're going to make their money in sponsorship deals because everybody wants to be aligned to Ronaldo, right? Cristiano Ronaldo, yeah.
And shirt sales will sell. They'll sell, merchandise galore. Not just Cristiano Ronaldo stuff. It's kids will go in, buy other stuff because they're there because of Cristiano Ronaldo.
You're doing the guy down, He's still one of the best players on the planet.
Yeah.
And he's a fantastic player. He still is. And he's as fit as a butcher's dog.
I'm not arguing that at all. I don't think anybody said he's not. I think the point is, he's 36 years old. He's clearly on the downhill slope. He's not been the same player. He'll score goals, but he doesn't do anything off the ball anymore. And he wasn't what United needed, more to the point.
Yeah, I'll have that last bit. It was not what they needed, but he's still a fantastic player, and I think he'll do a really good job for United.
Yeah, and United didn't go after him until it became clear that City were seriously in for him.
That's what I was just about to say. It's like United never planned for this to happen. It's like they were never really chasing Ronaldo. But the moment City went in, it's like, no. Come to us. Come back home. Instead of going there. That's what it looked like to me. There was never really a plan to bring him home until he came out and said that he wanted to leave and all that stuff. And City showed an interest. And that's when they brought him back.
I think I think they expected him to go to PSG, so they were thinking, "Oh, that's okay. That's not going to affect us." And then as soon as he said he's going to City, it's like, "Shit, we can't have that."
Is it controversial? Is it controversial to say that Cavani would have had more of a positive effect on United this season than Ronaldo? Because I believe so. I think Cavani, at his age, is a better player than Ronaldo now. At this moment in time, I think Cavani is a better player than Ronaldo. And I think But what Ronaldo brings you is that experience, that galvanization, that shot in the arm that they probably need United. That they can take it over the line. That they do. He brings belief. He'll bring a winning mentality, and the intangibles that other players won't bring. He brings.
And not just that. I think it's more having him around as an example to the kids. When you've got young players like they've got like Greenwood and that, he's a great example. The same reason, the opposite thing when Barcelona had Ronaldinho and Messi was coming through and he had to get rid of him and Deco and that because they were turning up pissed to training and turning up pissed to games as well. They had to get rid of him because they didn't want him to influence Messi. Ronaldo's the exact opposite. You bring him in because he's a great influence. You know, he'll train so hard and he'll do extra training as well, and that's what you want around the kids because you want them to see that and copy it. I think that's probably the biggest effect he'll have.
Yeah, because he's doing Ollie's job for him, basically.
Well, Cantona did the same thing when he joined.
Exactly, yeah.
It wasn't so much what he provided on the pitch that really made the difference. His main contribution was the way he worked off the pitch, which inspired the kids to work harder.
That professionalism it's that professionalism that CR7 will bring, Yeah,
and you can't argue with that because he's probably the most professional lifestyle, you know, as in terms of how he lives in the world.
Yeah.
And James Milner.
And James Milner, but Rob, let's face it, they have. There's not exactly the same effect, is it? You get James Milner rocking up to training. You get Ronaldo rocking up to training.
I love Millie, but it's not quite the same thing, is it?
Or Ibrahimovic.
Ibrahimovic? No, because he's an attitude problem. I mean, you only had to look at what happened when he was at United last time. The fights with Lukaku and that.
We're not talking about being brass or anything. Just professional to us.
Yeah, but it doesn't. That's what my point is. He doesn't inspire others to be more professional because the guy's a complete knob, and he actually actively set people against him rather than for. You know, a lot of them turned on him. You know what I mean? There was massive problems with him behind the scenes.
I just want to say, if Ibrahimovic is listening, Tristan said you're a knob. None of us said it. I didn't call him a knob. I for sure didn't call him a knob. Tristan said it.
I'm quite happy with that.
I would not say that to his face.
I
would not say that to his face.
Really wouldn't bother me. It's all right. Lukaku would be happy to slap him for me.
Yeah.
Do that voodoo shit.
What's that, mate?
Yeah, their argument about that voodoo shit again. You can meet me outside the stadium.
Oh, imagine them two having a tear up. Jesus, Lukaku and Abramovich. That's going to be whoa.
Ibrahimovic, you mean?
Yeah, Ibrahimovic.
I don't think Roman Abramovich is going to get involved in that kind of thing. I'm sure his bodyguards might do. Yeah, his bodyguards might deal with it, but I don't think he's going to do it.
I'll buy a ticket for that. Ibrahimovic versus Lukaku in the ring or the octagon. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Ooh. Guys, on that note, I think should we have curtain time?
Yeah.
I think that's a good time to call it.
Rob, I think I speak for all of us. It's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for waking up at stupid o'clock. And it's been an absolute delight to have you on, mate.
And especially thanks for making us all look totally inept for all these years.
Yeah, but you could have said nothing, Rob, when you'd have made that happen.
That's
anyway.
True.
I appreciate it. I've had a great time. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Cheers, Rob.
I hope you come on again
next week,
soon,
then,
mate.
are you, mate?
Yeah.
Up at 4 a.m. again.
Why don't you just let me know?
Thank you, mate. For sure. Billy, Deeps, Tristan, thank you guys as well.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I'll see you next week.
See you next Thursday.
See you next Thursday.
Yeah.